What's up? Hey guys.
We
How's it
have no
going?
idea what we are doing today. We're just
Not
going to be talking
really.
about random things.
Well,
No, we just have articles and a whole bunch of crap. It is a fun week to do it in because Biden's week has been brutal, even according to CNN's own headline, which is fantastic, which is also coincidentally the headline of the show. Because I was very lazy and we just said like, what can we do? We'll just call it with CNN's headline. Fuck it, they may as well do something useful for news.
also, in general, just hey guys, thank you for showing up for the seminal, and I love using that word, episode, I guess, of the Broken Crown podcast, which we probably will be doing on Wednesdays, not on Fridays. You know, people are usually, well, back in the before times, used to have fun on Fridays, but what can you do now? Oh well. I just dropped the ball on Wednesday. I forgot to set some stuff up to make sure that we could stream on this channel, because I have to like assign it, you know, connect it to a phone number and stuff and that kind of thing.
You should do a phone number for this thing?
Yeah, remember I asked you like
Oh
about that.
yeah.
Oh, if there's any, there might be noises.
I've never actually even used one of those services. Well, I have tried to for Twitter because, the only way I could get on Twitter was by doing a phone number because I'm bloody banned. I'm pretty sure my IP address is matched. So that doesn't help.
Do you think they actually like fucking got to your IP address? They don't want that.
Oh my god, yes, the same thing happened with Discord. The second I open up a different Discord account and I put in the name Spoon, the second it just said like, there's something wrong with this. We need to verify. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, shit. So I had to get a different phone number. But
Oh,
before
bruh.
that happened, I was like, I don't want to do this, so I used a different email address and didn't type in Spoon. That's why the name is yeeted now.
Oh, okay.
Because when I use Spoon, it would immediately identify me as, wait a minute, you're some troublemaking asshole, so let's go with the other one. And I was able to get through that one. But even then, I was using a VPN, and the second I went off the VPN, instantly the thing clicked in and asked me for verification again. I'm like, oh, you absolute gay bunch of bastards.
Oh, sorry. Volume is low. Anything like that,
Yeah.
guys. Let me know in the chat because this is a brand new setup. If you can't tell, I put a freaking spectralizer in, dude. So not like that was like difficult to do. I'm just.
Maybe your volume is low compared to mine is worrying because my volume
Oh,
is really
it's
low.
not about that. It's about OBS, and that's why also like that Streamlabs stuff. Thank you guys for subscribing. I really appreciate it. But I also know it's annoying to have it constantly on the screen. If you do want to
Yeah.
support, however, there is a link to the Streamlabs, which should be set up correctly. So and that's specifically for this stream and not for me. And I'll have to share some of my shekels with Spoon at some point. Anywho, so again, sorry if things are a
yes,
little bit
shekels.
a little bit jank at first. It's because I'm a boomer and I suck at everything. So, but I'm trying my best. I'm there was an attempt.
How do you think I feel? She's smarter than I am, so it's not.
questionable, but
No, that's not questionable. You are definitely smarter than I am.
oh no, now that means we're both fucked. But anyhow, what do you want to start out with?
Probably the Supreme Court is probably the biggest thing that's
Obviously,
happened.
yeah. Do we have an article for that, or did you want to just talk
I
about
don't.
it in general?
No, I just noticed that it was 6-3. It was
Yep.
it was upheld by the conservatives, obviously, and the main thing that the argument was that who has the power to look after this. It wasn't so much the case of how best to solve it. I think the federal government can prove it can suck an asshole because everything it's done for the past year has blown up in its face. So I think just for safety's sake, they just went, yeah, just leave it up to the states.
Yeah.
And the resulting meltdown from Twitter, oh my god, it's been phenomenal. Oh, like the likes of Joy Reid, who's a miserable bitch.
I mean, like, okay, the
It's been
astonishing
fantastic.
thing is that, like they've just full on mask off, man.
Oh my god, yes.
They just, it's about nothing but power whatsoever. Because this mandate stuff, by the way, you still got what is actually really within the Supreme Court's, should be within its purview, which is that federally funded medical facilities and staff are now going to be allowed to be mandated. And by the way, here's the other fucking thing that you need to be clear about, is that nothing about this decision says anything limiting what individual businesses can or should or will do. So individual businesses can still say, no, I want to. I feel like doing a mandate because it's my business. Now, interestingly, you can't choose to not bake the gay cake, but you can choose to put these freaking mandates. I mean, you'd think, and I know this is the issue, is that there's a perception that like, hey, this should be a HIPAA violation, but it's not. because if you have at-will employment in particular, because if you have at-will employment, your employer can fire you for literally any reason, including vaccine stuff. So, yeah, it's lame. It really
Because
blows.
I know they were saying that some business did have the federal mandates up for a while, because I think they were upheld in one of the courts for a while, and then as soon as this came out, they instantly dropped it. And
Yeah.
I was reading a Salon article. Yes, I read Salon because if you're going to read just an absolute meltdown article of who has the most propagandistic shit-headed news in the any kind of tabloid rag, Salon is your go-to. If you
Or
want to
Teen
see
Vogue.
how...
Teen Vogue is unironically like.
If I
there's
ever
commie
have
articles
Teen
all the
Vogue
time,
on
dude.
my history, or I ever link to a Teen Vogue article, please shoot me, because that's like I'm way off the deep end. It's bad enough I have to read Salon.
I mean, I've told that story before about my friend when she came out as a huge Hillary supporter, told me that her main source of trusted news, the most trusted name in news for her was Teen Vogue.
Yeah, because we're all going to go to Teen Vogue to read one of the oldest people to run for the presidency is Teen Vogue.
She's real hip with the teens.
Fucking
But
meme.
my friend
Pokemon go to the
was in her
polls. Oh
fucking
god, that was bad.
Late 20s. But moreover, the thing is that like Teen Vogue unironically like has written like pure full on pro-commie stuff. Like they're absolutely published as full-on commie crap. So I mean, if you like that shit, then I guess they are the most trusted name in the news. Oh well.
But the Salon article was fantastic,
Yes,
because
sorry.
the Salon article was essentially saying that the court is no longer functioning, because that's how it works. If you don't get your way, you throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah.
And just say the entire court is illegitimate, which does not sound at all like a temper tantrum, 13-year-old.
No.
At all. No, not even a little bit. And they were essentially saying that the right wing is poised to take over in a fascist coup.
Oh yeah, I saw that. How is this fascistic? What's always, anything that we don't like is fascismus. To paraphrase V.
It was the funniest thing, because the article literally it ends with Steve Bannon, and he's because you can't mention Trump without Steve Bannon. They're like tied at the hip at this point. And they were saying that the goal of this administration, or the incoming coup one, as they like to call it, is to completely dismantle the federal apparatus and take a hammer to the bureaucracy, which many people actually want, because they hate the size of the government, and there's a lot of people. Yeah, exactly. But that's like a classic Republican thing: is make the state smaller, smash it to bits, because the government already has too much say. Sure. And then in the next one, they call it a neo-fascist coup. It's like, please explain to me how you in one breath say that the guy wants to completely dismantle the federal government, make it small, and the next one he wants to be a reigning like fascist dictator.
They don't know the
With what
definition
bureaucracy? That doesn't even make any sense.
Actually, like, that's not even a... Sorry, I was agreeing.
No.
That's right. They do know the definition of words, but, like, it's...
Are you sure?
Yes, this is
At
on
this point in
purpose.
time,
Okay, again.
I'm like...
With all this stuff, you have to understand that there's 2 or 3 different types of people. Generally and broadly speaking, maybe 4.
The Vulcans.
Oh, yeah. What book was that from?
The Case Against Democracy.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't the title of it, though. Fuck, it's really close to it.
It was Against Democracy.
Yeah, just Against Democracy, right.
Yeah.
So...
It was
Burnham.
Hold on.
Right?
Yeah, James Burnham. No, it wasn't him.
Not
Hold
Burnham.
on.
Wait.
No, it was
Obviously
him,
not.
James something.
Why am I
But
Burnham,
yeah,
'cause that's what my
yeah,
brain goes to.
it was a
I have it
classification.
upstairs,
There
it's,
were
like, sitting there right
3.
now.
Yeah, there were. Oh, did you get a physical copy?
Yeah, I bought physical copies
Yeah,
of all these
you
books,
did.
dude. I'm fine physical... Jason Brennan. Not Burnham.
Jason
Burnham is
Brennan, there
important.
we go.
I've been reading a lot of Burnham, too.
Yeah.
Jason Brennan,
Yeah, but it
Against Democracy.
was. There's 3 classifications of people, and one of them was the Vulcans.
Well, the Vulcans are the people who, in his, understanding or segregation of society into groups, or delineation, let's not use the word segregation, that has connotations to it, was the Vulcans and the Hobbits, and then, what was the other one?
Hobbits, hooligans, and Vulcans.
Yes, okay.
That was the 3.
There
yeah.
you go.
Whereas the Hobbits were like, essentially
The Hobbits just want to have, third dinner, right? They just want to grill. Like, they want to be left alone, but they can move into one of the other groups, and the hooligans are the, well,
Like essentially the people on Twitter.
The people on Twitter, yeah, like
Yes.
people who are very politically aggressive, but also very politically fucking ignorant, right? Like
Yeah.
this is all emotionally driven.
Yeah.
It's not, driven
And the
by
Vulcans were like the people that had an ounce of sense.
facts and logic, right?
Yeah. The big
But
stereotype.
yeah, owned by facts and logic.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But yeah, that
It's
was
an interesting
that was essentially the three.
way of categorizing people, and I think there's something similar to that in that you have, and so I'm reiterating it now. So I guess I stole this from
Brennan.
Brennan. I immediately escaped me, but there's a large portion of the population that just does not care. Yeah, those are the hobbits. Like people just do not care. They just want to grill. They don't give a fuck. They want to have a good time, and they don't want to be bothered by politics because politics sucks. That's it's not. It does not. It's not interesting.
It's
for everyone.
divisive.
Yes, and most people just want to watch TV. You know what I mean? They want to have. They don't want to bother themselves with things that are, let's be real, disconcerting often. So those people, they will never know anything. And then
I think it's obvious politicization of everything makes everything a tribalistic sport, and it's not good for society. It's really bad.
It's fine to be a hobbit. It's fine to not care. And we should.
Yes, because hobbits just want to be sitting in the back smoking pot and watching things grow.
Or whatever. And it's like it's
quite literally.
That should actually be the norm. And when I looked at the data
the
quite recently,
leaf.
I looked at the data quite recently, and it was like in 1997, it was something like 70% of people said that they would feel uncomfortable talking to anybody about politics.
Wow.
Outside of like really close friends, and now it's like, oh man.
Now it's like a stranger they'll do that with.
Yeah, actually, I have the exact date on that here. The stranger stuff.
That's not good.
Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Oh, it wasn't. This wasn't from that group. This was from Pew.
I blame Obama for that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. In surveys conducted by Huckfelt and Sprague in 1995, 73% of Americans reported that they were willing to discuss politics only once in a while or never with others. Looking now to that was the mid-90s. 2019 Pew data indicate that 17% of Americans are very willing to discuss politics with someone they don't even know, and 35% are willing to discuss politics with complete strangers. Or so 17% with someone they like, dude, that's up. That's so far up. It's basically flipped. Where now it's just like in the 1995 or 97, whatever, they were like 73% of people were like, I don't want to talk about politics unless I really closely trust and know this person. And now it's something like 50% will say, yeah, I'll discuss deep political issues with a hobo. Like, all right, man. That's not
at this point in
good,
time, I think you probably would have a better conversation about politics with the hobo.
Unironically, homeless people are interesting to talk to.
Yeah, because they've probably seen some shit.
They've seen some shit. I mean, a lot of times they're crazy, but a lot of times they have had.
Have you tried to have a conversation with a leftist about politics nowadays? I'm going to take my chances with a homeless person. I think they're probably less crazy.
The political divide is so insane. So my point is, all right, so you have the hobbits, they just want to grill. They're cool. It should be more people like that, honestly, because, well, we were certainly more politically cohesive in the 90s when that Huckfelt and Sprague data were collected. But
I'm wondering if that's a sign of the times or a sign of the technology.
Oh, it's probably both. It has to be a combination of both. Because
yeah, but the technology definitely makes it worse.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things involved there. Like the extent to which our capacity for communication has increased more in the last 20 years than pretty much in the entirety of human history combined up until then. And it's constant. We're constantly inundated. Hey, thank you for enjoying listening to this podcast. I hope you're enjoying it, where two people talk over the fucking magic of the internet and complain about I don't think it's complaining, but noticing the trends that may be associated with constant communication.
We're complete atoms of reality.
Yeah, well, I think
that tends to be the main one right about now.
Yeah. No, like Clover said that there's a hobo close to where I live that just rants about the Jews. Interesting.
Just rants about the Jews.
Give him a YouTube channel. Like, that'd be real popular until he get eaten.
Yeah, put him on Vosh's channel. Let's see how that goes.
Have him debate Vosh. That would be fun. Aw.
Vosh would fight every instinct not to call him a peasant.
Oh, I don't know. Probably. Well, the equivalent of it. Anyway, what were we talking about? We've already gotten off track. Brandon. Let's go.
Yeah, the
Supreme Court.
the vaccine mandates. Yeah.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, sorry.
But I did
The
notice
other-
a lot of businesses just decided to drop it now because it's not good for business.
Yeah.
And it
I'm not-
wasn't good for business even before Christmas. I remember reading articles about November where they were saying, where businesses went up to them and said, "Can you not do this now because it's already bleeding dry for Christmas thanks to your incompetence the whole fucking year. So don't push the scrap right now." And they didn't. Which should tell you it was never about anything to do with health. It stands in the way of money, and money moves the thing. And if they just say, "Look, don't do this right now because this is going to hammer business," I don't know why certain places are putting the mandate on. I saw one bank was it that they want to have the mandate now, but you can't work from home if you don't have the vaccine.
Wait,
See,
I know, I read that. Dude, let's see, we'll bring it up. Where was
Citibank?
It was some bank where you have to... I remember reading this the other day.
But this is why it's so much funnier, because it's an international bank, so it's based on each state. So if a bunch of states says that, hey, yeah, you don't need to do this, then they'll just abide by the state rules. So it's got nothing to do with overall health. It's just to do with state abidance, which, you know, or abiding by state rules, which it's just absurd.
Yeah.
These rules make absolutely no sense if that wasn't already fucking obvious by the last 2 bloody years of this. Citibank?
Yeah, JP Morgan Chase. Chase
Oh,
says,
JP Morgan.
Jamie Dimon says bank won't pay its unvaccinated workers. But can they work from, And yes, Dimon on Monday. This is, on January 12th. Here, we'll pull this up. So I'm just not looking at it.
Oh, God. How to destroy business.
How to just be a wank. How about that? How to be
Americans say that word often.
What?
I don't hear Americans say that word very often.
Let's do. Here we go. Okay. JP Morgan Chase Dimon says bank won't pay its unvaccinated workers. And, okay, let's go down. Dimon said on Monday...
and they're fired if they don't.
Yeah, told CNBC that under company's vaccine mandate for its New York City headquarters, so I guess it's only for the New York City headquarters, and New York is a fucking hellhole, unvaccinated workers cannot...
Yeah, Citibank...
Did they do it too?
Yeah, because Bowie said in the chat that Citibank has a lot of employees in NYC, and I think NYC is one of the main branches, I think.
Sure. Well, yeah, a ton of these banks are headquartered there.
Yeah, it's like the financial center of the United States.
Sure,
yeah. Yeah. So one of them just went, "We're not going to do this for the employees," and I just thought, "Are you trying to like hemorrhage money?
Yeah.
Why?
I guess I don't know. Well, okay, it's clearly ideological, or I don't know. Again, this goes back. We're gonna have to keep bringing up Brennan.
I thought a bank wants to make money.
Also, I'm not dying, guys. I just chain smoked last night on accident because I got drunk. But when I get
I don't know how you do that on accident, but all right, fair enough.
Okay, I've had insomnia now for like a couple weeks. It's been an issue, and to treat the insomnia, I get real fucked up, which is why my Twitter's been awful recently. But then the alcohol is
your Twitter is awful because you have a lot of stupid people who don't understand monarchy.
No, my Twitter is I'm making bad tweets. I get drunk and then I tweet stupid shit, and then like at 7 a.m. So because I'm just
I'm never gonna try and big you up again if I insult your audience and you're just gonna say it's your fault.
Well,
I have read some of your tweets with regards to people who tried to do their best to basically dunk on monarchy, and I'm just really going, oh my god, these people that have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
Nah,
it's really bad.
Also, guys, welcome. If you're not aware, and I know that we did a dry run, I guess, whatever you want to call it. That makes it sound sexual, but whatever. we did a sort of version of the stream. I'm trying to find it up.
Yeah, there was it wasn't exactly dry. There was a lot of blood involved.
We were talking about abortion, yeah. So, but Spoon and I are both monarchists, I guess. Would disagree necessarily on.
You don't need to say that. No, yes, I will. I will to try and bring into the absolute monarch because Aiden is like half-assing the monarchy thing. It was like, no, I kind of want to counsel. Yes, you are.
Okay. No, I'm half-assing it on the absolute monarchy thing, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, we must have the absolute monarchy. None of this pussyfooting kind of. Oh, we should have a council of the civic. No, I have no safeguards. Even Molbug was with us, by the way. even in that the one way he did the futocracy thing, where he just went like, no, you should have a complete federal election and give one person all the power. And even then, I was like, okay, I've read what his like massively in-depth plan is involving technology and safeguards. So I was a little bit more feeling safer about that. But I guarantee you, the average person who just hears that will just think, oh my god, this guy's an insane dictator.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
it's more complicated than just that sentence. But I can guarantee on face value it will scare the living crap out of people.
Yeah. Oh, also, I can see you guys in the chat if I've not been responding too much. I am checking it. Hello, thank you guys for showing up for this again, seminal episode. But continue with this.
Monarchies
article.
must be hereditary. I don't actually have a problem with the hereditary monarchy.
I don't have a problem with that either. And I think that actually might be for the good. But I understand why that gets scary because then it's like, what if you end up with a Habsburg situation?
What if we have a Nero?
But it's always the thing, it's that Riverroll quote where, you will sometimes, under monarchy, sometimes you'll have a Nero, sometimes you have your Marcus Aurelius. Under democracy, you will often have a Nero, you never have Marcus Aurelius. So, I'm paraphrasing a little bit. That might actually be the exact quote. But, I can bring it up.
Yeah, it was, the absolute ruler may sometimes be a Titus, but you can get a Nero and a Marcus Aurelius, whereas with democracy, the people are often a Nero and never Marcus Aurelius. Something like that.
It's on the screen right now. I immediately had it.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah, I think the main thing that's going to happen from the fallout from this is it's going to be viewed very, very bad for Biden.
Oh yeah, Brandon.
And his approval rating is in the toilet already. Like the Quinnipiac poll has him at 33%.
33%. That's not going great for Brandon.
That's deliciously bad, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Because if you look at him now, if you look at the trajectory of the Democrats, there is no discussion, at least as far as I'm aware, on any maneuver away from anything that has caused this problem. Like at all. It's just full force, keep doing this. And my mind is going, why? Like, normal sane people, when they screw up a problem, they will look at what was the cause and deviate away from it. That's how sane people work. These people have no intention of in any way deviating from any of the hell that is in the last year, and my mind is going,
no, they seem to be doubling down.
Yes, I'm like, are you guys suicidal or just stupid?
I don't. Okay, I think that there's a disconnect and this actually is going to go back again to the Brennan thing. Is that even some of the people in power, some of them are straight up evil, right? Well, by evil I mean
Nancy Pelosi.
They have bad intention. They are aware of what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose for the purpose of power and money or whatever else it is. They are, and in my opinion, that's evil, and they're aware when they do things that are bad for the people. Then you have, and I will say this, people like AOC, I know she's an actress, I think she's just dumb. I think she's dumb as rocks, and I don't think she has any idea what she means or what she's doing at all. I mean, there's some element of evil there, because she does evil things, like bitch, whine, and moan about Florida's lack of mandates, and then go down there to the party, Like, that's...
Yeah.
You're scuffed, okay? Your morality is scuffed. But I think that's mostly stupidity. And I do think
I do think she's more evil than stupid.
You can be evil and stupid. But I think that most of them, my point though is that there's it's both. The duality of man. Evil and stupid, evil and aware that you're being evil. I don't know if she's aware that she's evil. Right?
No, I think she's definitely aware. She's more evil than stupid. As much as I sliding scale, as much as I dislike to say that, because as much as I dislike to say that, because I think her stupidity is quite high, but I do think she's definitely aware of what she's doing. She doesn't give a fuck.
I know, maybe, but let's just talk about normal people then, and not about grifters like AOC, who, I mean, because clearly she's trying to grift, right? That's unquestionable.
Oh yeah, that much is obvious. I mean, she's only in politics for power and money and to be looked at.
Right.
Which really should tell you something, because in any other arena she would never be looked at either. Which is why it's funny to me when she just said, "Oh, it's because people want to fuck me." It's like, have you seen you?
Okay.
You're not exactly attractive.
No, come on. Lots of people do find her attractive. I
No.
do not.
Yeah,
but...
the people who do are the people who would shag a plastic doll. Let's be honest.
I mean, you've seen the dancing video. You've seen the dancing video. It's not bad.
But when she was like 20 years old?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how old is she now? How old is AOC?
She's 31 years
31,
old.
Yeah, so same age.
Yeah, she's the same age. She's like 2 months older than me, I think. But
Yeah.
no, I have seen the dancing video, and
It's not. I'm just saying, like, you could do worse.
no,
right?
that's not, I can also do better. In fact, I have with every single one. But the thing is, when I looked at the dancing, when I looked at the dancing video, my instant reaction was, "This woman is in Congress. Dear God." That was my first reaction.
I mean, she's just an actress. I don't know, like, how realistic that really is.
It wasn't, "Oh, look, she has a pair of gazungas." It was just like, "Oh, dear God, like, please get this woman the hell out of..."
I mean, let's just
because,
we'll be real. There's a lot of thirst out here on these streets. People are just like, booba.
The amount of people who simp for her, I'm like, why?
And they're simping.
She's...
When I, like, even tweeted
and
about
it's hardcore.
about it, when I just even tweeted about it, I mean, and it was hardcore. Like, you just hate women. And when I was looking at the responses to other tweets, like, of people talking about it, people just were like, I mean, they were totally on board, even after the "you just want to date me" shit. It's like, she's what do you call a political thought? The P thought instead of an E thought? You're just there to honestly, to be a distraction.
Thought, probably.
No, really, she's a distraction. That's for real. She is meant to be a distraction. The Democrats allow her to exist essentially because she's distracting from the crap that they want to do. Because they're not gonna.
No, she does bring us a certain element of clout to politics.
Sure, and it says, look, we're gonna give you here's your token socialist. Oof. I am so sorry to people who actually believe in that ideology, who aren't also grifters. You know, like Kai Mark, who's a nice guy. Like, people who actually believe in this stuff to a degree and they think it works or it could work.
There's no way in hell Kai Mark likes her.
Oh no, that's what I mean. Like, this is here's your representation of, far left people. Like, oof. Holy, absolutely.
I like the way they don't have a smart one. The most outlandish
Bernie.
one they have in Congress is a complete...
I mean, Bernie is the token, right?
Bernie's also an idiot.
But Bernie, well, I used to like Bernie, and I'll tell you why. I liked him for one reason. I thought he was, back in 2015...
16.
I thought, 15, during, when... Yeah, I guess 15, 16. I thought at least, I disagree with, like, everything this guy believes in, and all of his proposed policies, but I think he's honest. And I was totally wrong on that. I was absolutely wrong, because he's proven that he doesn't really care, and he can be bought off like anyone else. And that was the one thing Trump had going for him, is that you couldn't buy off Trump, at least not as easily, right?
No, because Trump has a massive ego.
And a lot of money.
I've said that before. That was Trump's best asset as a politician, because a lot of the other ones, like, oh, look, No. The reason I say this is because...
I'm making a joke, but it'll take a second.
No, because the reason I say this is because if you look at any other political figure, they tend to be in politics. I know a lot of them probably go into it with the idea that they want to make some sort of change, which tells you they crave power in some way. Whereas with Trump already has, Trump already has, power and money or whatever, but he doesn't have executive power. So his idea, like you said to me before, was just that, who are these assholes? Why are they ruining my country? I can do a better job. And then he gets in there and then he just does what he said he was going to do, because he's not playing a cynical political game that every other one goes, which is to try and get power.
You have no idea what's on screen right now, I'm guessing.
Yes, I do. It's Trump with a tennis racket.
He's got some assets, boy. Sorry.
You'll never see Biden do that, at least, though.
Anyway.
At least he's moving faster than Biden.
Yeah, true. He's lost a lot of weight.
Damn, he's lost like 15 pounds.
Yeah, he looks good. He's like the only president I can ever remember who has looked better after his first term.
Yeah.
And I'm again not implying, that he will inevitably have a second, because I actually don't think is necessarily a good idea. I like Trump. He did also screw up, and he also didn't do a lot, to be completely honest, of what we were.
What?
Yes,
You don't think he did a lot? Are you kidding me?
He did. Not as much as I would have hoped, but you can't ask for it. You can
Well,
only
it's like he's got the entire apparatus against him, so it's not exactly. But I think if you were to look at him from a first-term president perspective, he's done more for the Republican Party than any president in our lifetime.
I don't know. I think he might be responsible for ending the neocon rhinos, because they suck. Everyone
Let's
hates
hope
them.
so, anyway.
Well, when the midterms roll around, I think we're gonna see a massive surge in
Populists.
Populists, yeah, who are gonna follow the Trumpian kind of model. I sure hope so, because I can't freaking stand neocons, and I cannot.
I just want to see the meltdown when the left realizes they're incredibly unpopular, no one likes them, and they just scream fascist coup for like the next 2 fucking years.
They are realizing that
it's gonna happen.
now. It's happening right now. You can see it. I mean,
I know, but that's what I'm saying. It hasn't even happened.
Have now announced that they won't be running.
I think 26.
26. I was 26 or 27. So it's
yeah.
not looking
26 or 28, I think.
It might be up.
No.
It's every day, pretty much. Well, not every day, but it's consistently, and you have
at
to
least
ask
like
the
one
question,
a week.
Why are they doing that? My guess is that they totally
see the writing on the wall.
They see that they're at their high. They can see the high water mark, and the water's receding down back from it. Right there's your blue wave, such as it exists right now. This was your blue wave. As great, as shitty as it is, this was your blue wave. You got it right now. You got it through some means, and it's
massive
a complete and it's a complete nightmare. Like, I mean, Joe Biden is such an incompetent old coot, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's
there's a if you look at the historical records, there's the biggest sort of predictor. Well, there's two things always: the person who's in power, that party loses seats, and the popularity of the president. And considering he is like 33%.
Yeah. I actually agree, by the way. Lieutenant Dan in the chat said Trump didn't do much besides make liberals think they were losing. For heaven's sake, the trans kids became a thing while he was in. Their march was going to happen. It was... I honestly think he did embolden them a lot. I mean, I think that's unquestionable, that he emboldened them of like, well, we have to fight. You know, I mean, you've heard them all say that. Of course, you know, Nick Rekieta starts his show with a lot of his streams, or he used to, with the compilation of all the Democrats using the word fight. And then, of course, you know, hypocrisy over the January 6th stuff. It's like, oh, the word fight, that's incitement. That's incitement to violence. Yeah. Is it? Well, y'all been saying to fight like hell for the last 4 years already. Anyway, speaking of which, though...
Oh my...
Go ahead.
No, the overlap between what they say and what the Trumpers say, and as far as the outrage, oh my God, is it selective? It is unbelievably selective.
Partisan, so of course it will be. And I would say,
but it's really, really blanketly obvious. That's a bit the bug. It's like, dude, how you not see this?
The best critiques I've heard of Trump have all come from people who supported him, because you don't want to be wrong in your support for somebody politically, right? I mean, typically speaking, you don't. I've looked at the research on this, actually. So, no, you don't want to be proven wrong or stupid. People don't want to look stupid. But, you know, I guess they're kind of okay with it. If you're so partisan that it's threatening your social identity, and therefore threatening part of your sense of self, then you're going to have to make a decision of, is it more important to be consistent with what I believe, or is it more important to support my group? And that's always going to be an issue. And I think that's actually coming to a head now with the COVID stuff, because now the CDC has come out and kind of been like, well, yeah, doesn't really appear to work. All this stuff, you know, Pfizer comes out and like, you know, the mask didn't really work. We know that. Whatever. The Pfizer comes out and says, oh yeah, those 2 jabs, you have almost no efficacy left on that one. Get the 4th one though.
That is something that I actually want to hear people's opinions on the testing thing, because when it got shut down,
dangerous for us to talk about this on the first stream on this channel, but whatever, because YouTube is.
Who cares?
Well, no, we're at the precipice, right? Like I said, we're at the high water mark. The waters are receding back from this hysteria. In that, it's right now it is real.
Limited hangout.
It's where things are. I think things are about to turn. I started as the
Oh,
worm is turning, which
they,
is, you know.
yeah, they have already turned. They're just trying to walk it back now.
I think so. But you have,
Yeah,
again, it goes. God, keep going
but
back to Jason Brennan.
it's gone really, really fast. Like the turn has been, like, if you pay attention to the news, the turn has been really noticeable.
It's been really noticeable, but at simultaneous, you have some of the worst authoritarianism happening at the same time, or at least being, saber rattled.
Yeah, it's really obvious.
And so it's like it's a last ditch attempt to
Save the regime.
I don't know if it's to save the regime or if it's to save their perceived integrity, because I think for a lot of, they can't just act like, oh yeah, by the way, we were kind of wrong about all of this and we totally violated your rights for 2 years for no reason. Now there was a reason, obviously. It was all political, and I'm not saying that COVID isn't a serious issue. There's
a few of you that will have your backs to the walls.
It's serious. I've had COVID. It sucks. Well, I had the original. I had the OG, and it sucked, man. It did. I'm not saying that, and obviously a lot of people died, which is terrible, but it was used as a political tool, and I think that tool. I told you this the other day that
from this.
The way it seems to be right now, it's Andy, or not, throwing away Woody, or not, Toy Story meme, right? Of like, I'm done playing with you, so we're abandoning this toy now. On to the next toy, I guess. That's what it seems to be to me, at least. I could be wrong, obviously. But there seems to be a shift in the narrative, and I'm not the only one who's noticed it. Obviously, I'm sure most of you have noticed it listening, if you do pay attention to politics, but I've seen lots of other people on YouTube and in articles also write similarly that it looks like they're just all of a sudden switching and changing the narrative. How queer.
Yeah.
I probably can't say that word and it's in that meaning, can I?
Yeah, you can. It's fine.
Whatever. But this was the thing, though. Getting back to that, though, since we moved back to the topic. Huh?
This stream is small enough that you can damn well say anything.
Well, maybe.
I've seen Louis say the F and N-word when there's like 1,000 people watching. Like, you're fine.
No.
You can
look, we gotta play by the tech overlord's rules a little bit, guys. Like,
oh hell no.
Well,
I already got crap for recording the CEO and the CDC.
I know. Yeah, Spoon, you got a warning. Your first warning on your channel for quoting the CDC.
Yeah, I literally just quoted the CDC and the CEO of Pfizer. Because he literally just said that, and the fucking Hodge twins did a video on it. Yeah. Where they had it in the title of the thumbnail. Was the CEO said the jab, the first 2 doses offers little protection, if any. Yeah.
Yeah, CEO of Pfizer said that. I mean, like,
yes.
All right, let's bring it up just in case.
Greek bastard.
What? Greek bastard.
I say Greek bastard. Because he's Greek. Yeah. I went to go look him up because at first I thought it was German because of his voice. And then I went thinking, what is he actually? I mean, it's Greek.
It's interesting when you Google this, how different news sites choose to cover what he actually said. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to bring up the CNBC one.
News sites did it differently.
Yeah.
Why do I need news sites? I just listen to the son of a bitch and I just hear his words and go, oh, yeah.
Listen to what he said. What he said is 2 doses are not enough for Omicron. And this, but look at the CNBC headline is Pfizer CEO says 2 COVID vaccines doses aren't enough for Omicron. Now he really said that they don't have any efficacy.
He did though.
Yes, he said the first 2 shots. Okay, let's see if we can actually find the quotes here in this article that is obviously trying to spin it. With protection against infections, but then 2 months later, it was used to be very strong in hospitalizations, also went down. I think it's what everybody's worried about. Real-world data from the UK found that 2 vaccine doses are 52% effective at preventing hospitalization 25 weeks after receiving the second shot. 2 doses, Pfizer or Moderna's vaccine, are only about 10% effective at preventing infection from Omicron. Now, the booster, I'm reading from CNBC, is up to 75% effective at preventing symptomatic infection, 88% against preventing hospitalization, according to the data. But what it's telling you is that this is a yearly flu shot then at this point, right? I think we can all kind of be clear about that. If you are someone who gets a yearly flu shot, fine. If you are elderly...
Bill Gates said the same thing. He just said, like, it's going to pass after this variant, it's just going to be a seasonal flu.
We've been saying that for forever, so... I digress.
And the thing is that is somewhat helpful, although I don't trust the Microsoft creating bastard, is that most people don't get the flu shot because they don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. That's the honest truth. And Omicron Yeah, and Omicron is not in any way dangerous. That's a bit that I don't understand. Is the people say,
Well, let's
well,
be
this
clear.
the variant
Caveat,
is very low.
asterisk. Yeah, you if you're extremely old or fat and immunocompromised, maybe it's dangerous. But then again, so is the flu. So is a
So is the
cold.
flu.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So what
Honestly,
exactly are we all that
this is
bothered
the
about?
absolute best outcome we could have hoped for, because there was a real possibility that, first of all, as in the coronavirus, it's going to mutate quickly. We know this about coronaviruses because we've been studying them forever. We also know
Yeah, for like 4 decades.
and I've sent you some studies, but I could pull them up. I also sent some to Dev the other day because he asked me. Is that here? I'll pull up one right now. You can't. You really can't make vaccines for coronaviruses because they evolve too quickly. Let's pull up this study. Well, I won't read it directly, but we've known this, and this is a study that's published in 2020, but it is a review.
Who was the guy that I sent you who said that?
Huh?
I sent you a study of a guy who said that on a stream.
Wait,
Said that there was no chance the vaccine was going to work anyway because it mutates too quickly.
So here's a review, guys.
And even the WHO said that you can't boost your way out of this,
Yeah.
which is quite funny because that's slang for stealing.
If you're interested, though, guys, here is a study from I don't know this journal. What is this? Elsevier.
I don't even think it's Congress's responsibility to do the COOF thing. I think just leave it to each individual fucking state.
Oh, diabetes and metabolic syndrome clinical research and reviews. It's vaccine development against coronavirus 2003 to the present, an overview, recent advances, current scenario, opportunities, and challenges. This was published in July of 2020. So, this is a review of the last 20 years at that point, essentially, almost 17 years, of data on making vaccines for coronaviruses. The reality is they don't work. Like, I mean, they're not effective compared to other forms of vaccines, and the reason why is because these coronaviruses evolve very, very quickly. Now, we got extremely lucky in that the way that it evolved, which is normative, by the way, was to evolve to be less deadly, more contagious. Because a virus is going to want to propagate itself. Of course it will. And the more things you put in place to prevent its propagation, the more it evolves against your attempts at mitigating its propagation. This is
it's almost like that's how viruses evolve.
Okay, like this is actually not big brain stuff, guys. But if you're interested in the history of the development, here's the study. I've read through it. I admittedly don't understand all of it.
If they actually did nothing, you could have ended this so much sooner.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because there was that podcast that Brett Weinstein did with Dr. Malone. This was like months ago. This was way before the Joe Rogan one, and there was another guy on. Yeah, and then he said as well that if you just took ivermectin and you dispensed it into the world, you could eradicate COVID in 2 months.
Yep.
And it happened in that Indian village whose name currently escapes me, where they used it, and they within 4 weeks they brought the case totals down by 97%, something absurdly high. And no one says that in the news for obvious reasons, because someone is going to lose moolah, which is all it's all about. But the things with the Omni variant that I thought was very, very weird was just that if the coup shot doesn't work now, as the Pfizer CEO said, what the hell is the point of taking it for a variant that is killing virtually no one?
Well, they're gonna have to walk
why with the testing kits? Because I said this in my video today.
They have so much power.
Yeah,
it's given them so much power.
Yeah, but the narrative winding down doesn't even make sense when it comes to the vaccine's efficacy, because the whole point of the vaccine was, okay, not so much to keep people safe. I know that's what it's supposed to do. It doesn't look like it does that.
Right.
But they said that they touted it as this is to keep you out of the hospital. Well, if the case totals are sky high...
It did do that. It's, let's be real. It had efficacy at some point. I wouldn't deny that. It would be scientifically illiterate.
But here's the point that I'm trying to make. If the case totals are sky high, but no one's going in the hospital, shouldn't you tout that as a win? Why are you telling the news media to hush on the case totals?
And, I mean,
that doesn't make any sense.
What did Brandon literally got mad about this the other day? Let me see if I can find the clip where Biden. It's been making around on Twitter. Have you seen it where he begs essentially?
Oh, for social media
for social
to
media
like get rid of.
to yeah.
And then the day came out is when I got my warning.
It was on the same day, and I thought that was not
Yeah,
interesting.
and that's
Yeah, we'll
definitely
pull
not
the here's the
suspect at
post
all.
millennial article, which should have the clip in it.
Yeah. Omicron is an anagram for moronic.
It is.
Actually, it is as well. Oh god, that is ironically how I would describe everyone that still follows any of this shit. Because you have to be. Did you see Tim's video earlier? Where Tim just like snapped and just like,
Dude.
you have to be an effing moron if you still follow these people.
Yeah, I was
thank you.
actually pretty. Tim has been going off. This shit he said about women today was like, woo, lad. All right.
Oh yeah, where he said communism is basically in the environment.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have men, like proper ballsy men, and females are overwhelming your power systems, authoritarianism is going to spiral and begin to emerge. And I just went, ooh, that's it's a spicy take nowadays to have. I mean, I agree with it. This is why I don't want women in power or them to vote. And yes, I said that before the video. I'll say it again.
Well,
I don't want women
I
to
agree
vote
with
because
you.
they're.
Well, I'm a woman and I'm agreeing with you, so now you're allowed to say it, right? Because a woman told you it was okay. Was this? Hang on, was it where he begs them to wear masks?
To be fair, I don't want a fair few men to vote either. To be honest.
Hang on 1 minute. Let's see. Actually, I don't know how it would be
Take
best.
the IQ test.
1 sec. Is this the right clip? I'm playing it right now. Let's see.
Yeah, that's the one. Why does he always have his hands like that? It's really weird. Like he's deep in thought. Like he isn't reading a fucking teleprompter.
1 sec, because I'm sure the volume is not balanced on this at all. All right. Well, it's quiet on my side.
That's him to beg to wear a mask. Please, wear a mask.
1 sec. Was this the right one though? Where's the one where he asked?
No, that's the one where someone can find that in the chat. Send us a link. Send us a link in the chat.
This is the freaking post-millennial article about it. Yeah,
that is
it's a quote. I
though.
make a special appeal to social media companies and media outlets. He said, "Please deal with the misinformation and disinformation that shows that's on your shows. It has to stop." What do you mean by this? What did he mean by this? See, we know what he
means everyone who
that.
disagrees with him, please purge them because I'm losing control.
Because I'm losing control. Oh my god, post-millennial, your site. Jesus Christ, when I it's so full of ads.
Gotten vaccinated,
here we go.
Do it.
Okay, here it is. Hang on.
You don't have AdBlock on yours?
I do, but I'm using an incognito thing.
What browser do you have right now?
Chrome. If you wouldn't mind, I hate asking this. Just mute yourself for a minute, because it's both playing through my desktop audio. So 1 sec. We'll play what Brandon has to say here. That way I can turn him up. All right, 1 sec.
Do it. Personal choice impacts us all. Our hospitals, our countries. I make a special appeal to social media companies and media outlets. Please deal with the misinformation and disinformation that's on your shows. It has to stop.
Okay. You're good, Spoon. Sorry about that. I have to figure out how to do this. Like I said, I'm new at doing this frequently, so if we're doing this once a week, it's a learning process. But Jesus Christ, I mean, I don't blame you for getting your bag, but Christ, guys, this is a little bit aggressive, don't you think? Oh well. Which is the ads. Yeah, so that's horrifying, right? He's just, at this point, outright begging them. Please stop. Because with the quote, misinformation. But what do you mean by misinformation at this point? This, what the CDC has said? Because what you got banned for was quoting the CDC and quoting the CEO of Pfizer.
Yeah.
Not banned, but
you got
punished for.
Else.
What you gotta, how very bad of you, Spoon, how dare you. Is
yes,
fucking just
how dare I
dude.
quote how dare I quote the CDC? It's like, what the
bruh. Well,
I feel like it's become a case of just time, like what has been okay to say. I feel like there's an overlap of when do we change what we're allowed to say versus what the CDC has said. Like there's a lag time between the two. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably where, because I don't think people can go, hey, look, the CDC just said I can say this, and then you go on YouTube and they're like, why was I banned? Because YouTube aren't that quick. They don't respond as quickly to their terms and change agreements as regular people do.
Like I said, going back to my hypothesis, I guess, or whatever, is that we're at the high watermark and it's receding from here. So like, it's gonna take a while. There's a lag for YouTube to catch up, YouTube and Twitter, etc., to catch up, as to be like, what's the new narrative? What are we supposed to do now? Because they're not necessarily the individual people who, you have to understand. You got to remember, like, the people who flag YouTube videos and the moderators who give out these warnings and strikes, etc. They're not aware. They're not getting the top-down information as to
that and they're activists.
What? Yeah. Well, no, but some of them. Hang on a minute.
Yes, they are.
I have had nothing but pleasant interactions with the YouTube staff. I'll be completely honest. Just
because you're female.
They don't know that necessarily. It's in text.
But your name is Aiden Palin. That doesn't exactly scream masculinity.
Aiden is a male name in Arabic.
I highly doubt you're talking to Arabs on YouTube.
I
highly doubt YouTube stuff is.
My Arabic fucking blows. I used to at least be able to read it. I still, when I do vocal warm-ups, I'll do the Arabic alphabet as a vocal warm-up.
Yeah, but there you go.
Well, alphabet, quote unquote. Anyway.
But no, it is absurd.
Just going back though to this what's happening though.
The social media thing.
My point though was that the narrative's collapsing, but at the exact same time, on January 12th, we're going back to what we were talking about fucking 40 minutes ago or whatever. It was JP Morgan Chase. They said, to go to the office, you have to be vaxxed, and if you aren't going to get vaxxed, you won't be able to work in that office, he said on Monday. We're not going to pay you to not work in the office, which is saying that if you work from home, you're going to get fired because you don't want to get vaccinated. So this is all happening simultaneous. And it's not just the narrative collapse. Like, the narrative collapse is happening, but at the same time, businesses, so again, and by the way, Supreme Court can't help you if you are a JP Morgan Chase employee, okay? Because
it's a private business.
Because they're private business. And again, it's fine for you to fire people over their medical decisions. And I'll go, I'm going to go into place here in a minute. It's fine to fire people based on their medical decisions that they've made for themselves. If it's a certain medical decision, apparently. But you can't, of course, you can't refuse to bake the gay cake. Now, where this is going to go, because I do believe that Roe v. Wade is on the table very soon for the Supreme Court as well.
Oh my God, that's going to be fun.
Well, you just said that.
They lost their lost their shit over the Texas one, and the Texas one just says you can still have it just within 6 weeks. They don't seem to know that.
And what you and I both talked about when we did our stream on that a while ago was that that's. I tried to intimate to people who were watching it, and there's no reason you guys should have seen it, but it's actually a pretty decent amount of time as a woman to know that you're pregnant. First of all, you have to have known that you've engaged in risky sex, and if you've been violated, hang on, let's look at the worst case scenario. If the woman has been violated, she knows that happened, obviously, and if you have been violated, you can go to the CVS or the Walgreens or whatever and buy a morning after pill. It costs $25, $30. That would be what my suggestion to mitigate all harm, right? For you, because like abortions aren't fun, okay? No woman's, well, I was about to say no woman, but unfortunately there's examples to the contrary, is happy about getting an abortion, but unfortunately there are women who appear to actively #shout your abortion shit. Whatever. Point is, if you, I know, I'm done. I'm dropping it. You just know how I feel about this. I hate it. However, ladies, to be fair, the Supreme Court just said that federal employees who work for hospitals that receive federal funding can be mandated to get a health procedure. That's going to put Roe v. Wade in a real dangerous position in terms of saying, well, if you're a federal employee, we can maybe mandate you get an abortion. Or mandate you don't. Do you understand? Do you understand why this is not good precedence, okay?
No.
Well, you wouldn't be able to work if you were pregnant, so get a fucking abortion, bitch. I kind
of want him to
legally,
overturn it just to see.
Legally, it's not that sound, and I could ask Ricada, but He's streaming right now too, by the way. Yeah, I could literally go over and type in the chat, but I think he's busy. Um, obviously. But the reality is, like, yeah, you could, just based on the legal arguments, you could make that argument based on what the Supreme Court did uphold, which was about federal employees. It is not outside of the realm of possibility that someone could make the legal argument that because they've said that a medical procedure is perfectly fine to mandate for federal employees, that they could either mandate abortion, right? And that's evil. Let's just be honest. That's fucking evil.
I don't think they could mandate, because I think being fired for pregnancy is probably grounds for suing someone for like wrongful dismissal.
It is.
So I don't think they'll do that. Yeah, okay, so there
but
you
now
go.
there's law on the books from the
precedent.
Supreme Court that says that you can be required as a federal employee to undergo a medical procedure.
Yeah, but this pertains to
I'm not saying that that's where it will go, by the way. I'm not saying that's where it will go. I'm being extremely hyperbolic.
Don't give them ideas, by the way.
I'm being extremely hyperbolic, but like, but that's what you just did, Supreme Court. Like, I am happy that they didn't do it for private businesses. I am happy about that. That's a win, if you want to call it.
Can I ask your take on
Whatever.
something? 'Cause I haven't asked you about this.
Huh?
What's your take on them? They're still upholding the mandate for federal workers where there's state funding of medical facilities. Because I'm not in favor of that.
Of course not.
Because like the one thing that bugged me the most is
I'm
that
not in favor of any of this.
No, but I thought it was really weird that they're doing that, because like, even this is one thing, like, I even disagree with Styx on this, because Styx said he's like, he can sort of okay with that. I'm like, no, it's for me, it's worse, the fact that they held it up for the nurses, because for me, the nurses are the ones that probably had the most exposure to it, because we all know that the little face cloth doesn't do jack shit, and the vaccines don't do shit either. So by that logic, I'm going to say that the nurses likely have been exposed to it already, and
most of them have, because they've been working through the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly. So they likely already have had it, and they're immune. And I've noticed there's no talk of natural immunity anywhere.
No, I keep seeing natural immunity being called, literally, I have seen it all over Twitter, be called a conspiracy theory.
Those people are morons. Because even Dr. Malone said on the Rogan podcast, he said that if you had if you've had COVID naturally, getting the shot is actually really, really bad. Don't do it. I mean, you know how many people who've worked through this who are not fat asses and who likely had a really, really mild case and didn't have a problem, and if they were to get the shot, it might make them more susceptible to something, so don't get it. And these people, their livelihood's just been destroyed, because I remember going through comment sections and seeing nurses who were really, really pissed at the decision because their livelihood is now destroyed. I'm like, why is nobody listening to the nurses? Like, you're constantly saying, hey, look, the hospitals are overrun with short staff. Why are you firing them then?
Bro, we're supposed to listen to all the nurses when they're making their fucking TikTok videos. Oh, my job is so hard.
No, nurses, those are high downs.
Oh, yeah, we're overrun, and yet I have time to make this stupid fucking TikTok video where I put balloons in my scrubs. Look at my big fucking butt. It's like, listen, my aunt's a nurse. So and she's told me stories about nurses, and they absolutely work extremely. It's not an easy job, right? I would never say that anything to the opposite. That being a nurse is not a difficult job, but the amount of whinging is kind of insane. It is your job. You chose the job.
The road you're going down right now, like, as it's into follow.
No, what I'm saying is, yeah, it's a difficult job, but the amount of the whinging, the crazy whinging, like, you chose that profession, my dude. So no, I hated that shit from the nurses when they were.
Like, I had a coworker who's pushing 400 pounds who shrugged off COVID. Yeah, because COVID probably just looked at him and went like, "Fuck, that's a big one to take down. I'm not gonna bother."
It weren't enough. COVID couldn't replicate quick enough. I'm sorry. I have the utmost respect for nurses, but I just don't. I don't like that entitlement stuff of, oh, my job is so hard. Yeah, well, you chose the profession. You didn't have to.
But
That's
I
really
don't
boring.
think that they were ever faced with this kind of idea though. So I can
Okay,
sort
you're
of
right.
sympathize
No,
with them.
I understand. No, I understand.
Yeah.
You're correct there. I won't. Yeah, all right. I take back what I said. You're probably correct. That might have been.
Yeah, because I feel it's hard to them to just say like, hey, look, I didn't realize I was
Oh
going to
well.
face an entire global pandemic with a bunch of communists trying to gather control through it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay, yeah, fair enough.
True. True. True.
'Cause that was kind of my biggest thing that I was annoyed about was like, why did you hold us up to the fucking hospital? Like, you jackasses. Well, maybe it's because the hospitals are not exactly overrun.
Mm.
Because
Have you seen the
like with
pictures coming out
Omicron,
of the overrun hospitals recently?
I know Stix just said there's like a shitload of idiots who just basically went to the hospital when they tested positive. And that
Well,
was the reason
okay.
why it was
So what,
overrun. It's
that's
because
yes,
people.
that's what's happening. Is that you have made people so afraid of this, and now we have this, thank God, very mild variant. Wonderful.
Yes.
It's great for the human species. But people are so afraid that they
And so stupid.
they're testing themselves all the time because they're afraid. They get
Yeah.
a positive, and then they go to the hospital. The people who are unvaccinated people filling up hospitals to a degree, sure. Based on the numbers I've seen, sure, to a degree. However, at this point, it's mostly, well, I've seen mixed numbers. Some say it's more vaccinated, some say it's more unvaccinated. I don't know, and I can't speak to that, and don't punish me, Susan, because I don't know. And by the way, the data are not consistent or clear. I would imagine a lot of people who are unvaccinated at this point are, guess what? Here's the other inconvenient fucking truth. Black, okay?
That's because they're mostly overweight.
It's a lot of black people who are at high risk of hypertension, who have suffer outside of well, you know, in Appalachia predominantly, or particularly, I should say. But black people have a very big problem. They are one of the most affected, if not the most affected group by the obesity epidemic. And they don't trust the government injecting them with shit, which they don't for good historical reason.
We can hardly blame them, so.
Okay? Just saying.
The Tuskegee experiments, yeah.
I'm just saying, black people have a good, they have good historical rationale to not trust the government when Uncle Sam is handing out medical treatments, right?
Yeah.
And so,
But he's also doing it to Whitey.
but still, I absolutely understand why black people are reticent to do it, but they're one of the most.
You know what's
unvaccinated.
annoying is why people.
I think they are the most unvaccinated group, and Latinos right
Yeah.
behind them. So
Yeah,
by
and
race.
white people are the most compliant, which really
No,
pisses me
Asians,
off.
no Asians, by far. Asians are the most.
Asians,
vaccinated.
really?
Yeah. Oh, by far. Yeah. Last time I looked at it, it's been like a year, but last time I checked, yeah.
You know, okay, but they're like per capita, so it's easiher for them to have larger numbers than the white ones. 'Cause there's more people.
American Asians. I'm talking about the American data, not overseas.
Yeah, okay.
But
Is that
American Asians are a little different? Yeah, I mean, I get the feeling that old Vietnamese women probably didn't get it in large swaths, right?
No, probably not.
The people who remember rooftop Korea.
Rooftop Koreans.
People who remember rooftop Korea probably weren't super
Yeah,
on
they
board.
probably were.
But
No.
that being said, second generation Asian Americans, oh yeah, I would imagine their compliance is pretty high. Yeah.
Someone just said in the chat. Let me just say this for the record. If I see someone driving in a car with a mask on, I want to walk over to them and Hulk smash the hood of their car. So badly. Like there's no, like, especially when there's no one else in the car with them.
I just saw it the
Like,
other
what
day, and by the way, the person was
fuck are you
driving
doing
like a
that for?
lunatic too. By the way, like. It's the only reason I noticed, because I don't normally look at other people when we're driving, you know, but I noticed this person was driving like an idiot, and just driving like a dick, and then we pull up past them, and it's like, yeah, they, of course, it's a woman, it's always a woman, driving with a mask on. Men don't do that.
I see more guys,
well.
actually.
Really?
Oh my
What?
god, I've seen a fair few.
I'm
I so badly
totally
want to
wrong
go.
on my perception then.
Oh god, no, I've seen way too many. And there's a part of me that just wants to knock on, like, why are you wearing that thing in your car?
Yeah.
Like, there's no one else in here, you daft git.
Yeah, I don't. No one can infect you in there. Okay. First of all,
And you can't infect anybody else.
First of all, we've known this the entire. We did this before these mandates all rolled in the first place, but it's now mainstream news, so I can say it on YouTube, and it has been now for months. masks don't prevent you from getting COVID. It prevents you from spreading it a little bit.
Yeah.
But the size,
those blue ones are like less than
size,
15% efficacy.
yes, because the
Less than
size of the
15%.
particle of the size of the actual
Droplets.
virus, the droplet, is so much smaller than the holes that exist in the weave of a cotton mask. They don't work, dude. Like I mean, okay, they have some efficacy. YouTube, Susan, please. It's like 10%. All right.
Yeah.
It minorly reduces it because it catches
low.
some of the droplets. Dr. Fauci, frankly, Dr.
Someone
Paul.
put masks at AC events? No, they didn't.
Every time I want to make fun of Fauci talking shit to Rand Paul, and I go, frankly, Dr. Paul, and it's like, yeah, but I always forget. Oh, Fauci doesn't have the fucking temerity to refer to Rand Paul as a doctor, which he is. Senator Paul, fucking asshole. What a dick, dude.
You need to show that meme that I sent you with the masks.
I don't know. Which meme?
The one I sent you with the
Did you get that meme?
with the NPC.
I don't know. It would be impossible to find anything in this Discord conversation, my dude.
No, I have to find it now. It is funny. It was basically the NPC guy and you know the fucking like Chad Norris guy.
Oh yeah.
And he was saying that
meme?
people should no, not that one.
Huh?
It was an NPC with a mask on, and he said people should have like low IQ indicators, and they should wear it on their face. And it's basically the mask on their face.
I mean, you know
like,
something
yes,
interesting
keep that.
actually. Speaking of low IQ indicator, I was looking at Reddit the other day.
Oh, you're gonna go? Okay, I want to hear this because this is actually funny.
Okay, well I'm just gonna. I sent you some of the stuff, didn't I?
Yeah, like the people who are fearful of COVID are literally stupid.
Yeah. Oh no, I wasn't actually talking about that. That is a. Oh, let me find that.
Yes, we heard that right. People who are scared of COVID are literally dumber.
There was a study. Well, no, that wasn't exactly it. Let's see. Can you find it? Also, search through it if you think you know what I called it.
Now you're asking for it.
Just no, dude. Fucking Discord search because it's somewhere in here. But
have you seen how our Discord conversations like
yeah,
trying
I
to
know,
find
it's
is like
awful.
needle in a haystack? Yes,
it's a real fucking mess. But there
basically
was a study.
Trashing mainstream media all day.
The problem is that it might be difficult to find this, but I am assuring you guys until I can find it. There was a study that was recently published that basically found that people who are really afraid of COVID have problems with cognitive capacity. By that I mean it so consumes their thought process that it made them in this study less able to complete cognitive tasks quickly and correctly. That's kind of scuffed, right? Did you happen to find it?
God's sakes.
I'm
God's
looking
sakes.
for it.
Don't know why the hell it wouldn't copy the image address. Come with the Guardian one. Right, there we go.
There's the meme. I'll put the meme up.
There it is. It's such a good meme though.
I'll put this up while we're talking about it. Even though I hope you guys appreciate the very little work. I actually did do some work on putting together the background for the OBS. I like the little crown thing in the spectralizer. It looks neat.
Someone said in the chat, democracy is gay. Yes,
Yes,
very
it is.
based.
We agree.
Agreed. It is incredibly gay.
Based. Where was this? Oh, man. I'm trying to find this article. It probably shouldn't do this on the fly. This is the problem why you should set shit up ahead of time. But, yeah, and then when I tried to Google it, actually,
Keeping
after the fact...
keeping the bloodline pure Habsburg style.
when I also tried to...
Yes.
Oh, this is too old. When I tried to look it up the other day, when I tried to search through our DMs, I couldn't find it either, and I don't know what I typed. But and then when I tried to look it up on Scholar, I also was having a hard time finding it. But let me see if I can find it real quick on Scholar.
It's such a good meme.
It's pretty good.
Oh god damn it.
I'll find it later, guys. We'll talk about it on another show because. But the TLDR on it was, yeah, people who are really, really afraid of COVID can't think straight, okay? They literally can't think right. Like, I mean, and I'm talking about people who are really, really scared that's where the issue comes in. I'll do one more quick search. That's what I'm doing right now. If you hear me talk about something, Spoon, for a second while I try to find this.
All right, I want to ask people this in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you think the testing kits were botched deliberately? Because I'm under the impression it was. And the reason I say this is because if you look at the media, what they always do is they will try and take the most scary thing about any variant and they will amplify that in the press to scare the shit out of people. And the scariest thing about the Omicron variant is the case totals. It's about the only other thing that is scary because no one is dying and no one's going to the hospital. So my mindset was instantly, if you are trying to wean off this pandemic and you're trying to quell the fear in public, what you would do is you would reduce the testing capacity. So when it came out that they botched the testing, my mind went, methinks this is deliberate. Because it seemed to match up better with the current narrative, which is just they're trying to wind us down. Because everything else made it seem like, if you just look at the news, all of the news was centered around something else. I've noticed something in the past couple of weeks. Whatever the Biden administration is pushing, the propaganda is heavily skewed in favor of that thing. Like with the Omicron thing, it was very, very heavily directed at this until they realized, Joe, you need to drop this ASAP because this is not good, and this is like the most visible thing the administration can quelch, and therefore it would at least look like he's doing something well. I don't know if that's true, but that's just, if I was going to do it from a strategic perspective, this is what I would look at. Because that was the one thing I was looking at, is all the other things, it's not as visible as the COVID thing. Whereas if you could somehow get rid of this in time for the midterms, he would at least look like he's done something well, because it was the main thing that he ran on, was that Trump doesn't have a plan and I do. Now, he didn't have a plan. That was a bunch of fucking bullshit. But if he can at least do something in the sense of getting rid of it, or at least try to anyway, then he at least looked like he was doing something. But I thought that this is also a risky strategy and rather stupid, because one thing that I noticed
so it plays out.
Yeah, but one thing that is bizarre is if you looked at the polls, of all the stuff that he's done, this is the thing that he's failed at the least.
Yeah.
Bizarrely.
Yeah.
So my mind went, if you are going to drop this, all of the attention is going to start focusing on other things that you've done that is even worse for you. Things like the inflation, the energy crisis, the rising crime rate, which has done nothing. So my mind was just, people don't give a shit about the coup anymore because they're just sick of it.
It's outlived its usefulness. Yeah. So
it's outlived its usefulness.
But the problem is as we've spoken about it extensively, is that you've created a cult. You created a cult of people where they have, part of their sense of self now is about wearing masks, about showing about how many vaccinations they've had. They've made this their social identity. And when it becomes part of their sense of self, you can't just say, well, we're done with this now. You can't just throw the toy away and say we're done playing with it. Because you made this important to people's fucking lives. You made it super important to them, in fact. You made them terrified into doing it. So you can't throw it away now. And what the Dems and anyone else who has supported these narratives is going to do. And by that I don't mean, again, not saying anything crazy, not saying COVID doesn't exist or whatever. I'm saying the people who have been fear-mongering about it for the last 2 years, and now they know that it's not useful anymore because it's hurting the economy, it's hurting everything. They want to get rid of it because it was useful to screw with the Republicans. Basically, let's be pretty clear about what it was.
And
it was a useful,
now it's
it was a useful.
I compare it to like the One Ring.
Right.
As they thought that they could wield the power, and now they realize, like, oh god, it's too toxic to wield, and they can't take it off.
And you can't take it off now because you scared too many people too badly to the point where they can't think straight anymore. I'm sorry, guys, I can't find this study. I will find it at some point, but
I did say that as well because it felt like the damage was done too well, and now they're going like, fuck, how do we wind this back?
They had a plan, and it worked too well. That's the problem.
And now people are so shit scared they don't even want to leave their house.
Yeah, they don't want to go back to work. People that's the whole thing.
People who actually like it, I'm like, dude, this is really fucking bad.
What? Yeah. But the reality is, people are going to have to go back to work at some point if you want the economy to recover. Because, I mean, the economy stuff, it's all numbers games. It's all numbers games when they try to act like the economy isn't completely flailing and unemployment isn't in a real bad place.
Oh my God! The economic propaganda in the news has been quite delicious to read. It is also completely disconnected from any aspect of reality.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, dude.
Like, oh my God, our numbers, we have added more jobs. Bitch, you didn't add any job. You just opened the economy back up after shutting everything down for like a year, you fucking spastic. Secondly, it's outpacing the wage growth, quote unquote, is being outpaced by inflation by like 4%.
Yeah.
So like your wage growth doesn't mean jack shit. I know inflation is not a big thing for Democrats, considering they spend like money doesn't exist.
But of course, when you're comparing your numbers to your own instituted lockdowns, and you're like, hey, look, we destroyed the economy, and now it's slightly improving. And it's like, well, yeah, dude, obviously. You don't need to be a rocket surgeon to figure that one out, let alone a statistician. Yeah. So obviously it's going to get a little bit better because you're lightening the restrictions. And by the way, when you're talking about national level economics and you're including places like Florida that are not obeying any of these restrictions, then, well, you're going to look at warped. You know, as someone who does nothing but look at statistics all day, it is so easy to manipulate. So easy to manipulate. Particularly kind of like broad level statistics like that, where you can truncate down the complexity, and it would be, what's a good way to describe that? What do we usually call it?
Normally speak.
You're reducing the resolution, right? They reduce the resolution on purpose. Okay, yeah. So that's intentional. Because you're trying to sell yourself as a politician, which is why democracy is lame, is that democratically elected politicians have to essentially sell themselves based often on lies or misrepresentation in order to make a persuasive argument. And persuasion is a very vast field of psychology that I could explain where you want to start with, because persuasion is one of my key areas of research. But you're trying to have to manipulate, well, that might be the bad term, persuade. You're trying to have to persuade people. As a result, statistics are constantly being used to persuade. They're constantly being manipulated. It's a huge issue, in my opinion. Sorry.
I do agree with that. I feel like you would like H.L. Mencken's perspective on
I'm sure.
on the democracy front as far as the policy goes and the what's the word I'm looking for? The compromises. He said, a professional politician is a professionally dishonorable man. In order to get anywhere near high office, he has to make so many compromises and submit to so many humiliations that he becomes indistinguishable from a streetwalker. Damn, that's
sexist. How dare you?
It's also a bloody good quote.
It is good, damn.
If anyone wants to like have a really heavy go at why democracy is absolutely terrible, there is a book called Notes on Democracy by H.L. Mencken. My God, do read that book, because
I actually need to reread it. It's been a couple of years, but yeah.
The language is fantastic. It is very, very rich English. That's also a bit old school as well, so you actually have to pay attention to it. But man, does he butcher the crap out of democracy. You read that like, oh my God, this is a terrible form of government.
Speaking of British, something Vincent Martin said in the chat that I agree with is, Vincent says, I can't believe the Brits are falling for all this. Wasn't both V for Vendetta and Utopia from that country? Can fiction not teach anyone anything? And that is a kind of problem, is that people are so reliant on fiction. But it's astonishing how
I've made that comparison as well. That is basically V for Vendetta.
We're living in it, and people consume so much media and relate everything in their lives to media. I mean, but the difference is...
I also think that that's the problem with it.
Man.
No, because I also think, like, I wrote an article about this a while ago, and I said the problem with it is...
Oh, you should also... Is that on your Substack?
Yeah, it's on my Substack, where I said the problem with it is, I think that technology, especially when it comes to like media and any entertainment consumption, it's eroding the concept of patience. And there is so much news articles, because I think before, like, if you just watch the newspaper or watch TV and you read the newspaper, you had time to digest between the stories, that you can discuss it, and you sort of felt more informed because I don't want to say ignorance is bliss, but because the stories are coming at you in a much lower volume.
Oh, there's research on this. Sorry.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
And I just felt like if you're consuming media in this massive quantity of volume, you're not going to digest all of it. You're basically just in this ether where many headlines are flying past you.
It's impossible.
Yes.
There's
and as a result, there's more information, but we're actually all less informed.
Yes, actually, and it's something that, again, there's so much research on this, and it's one of my favorite areas of study. But what basically happens is, sorry, when my speed and voice takes out, it's because I'm excited about some science. What basically happens is everyone's a cognitive miser to greater or lesser degrees. People only want to, because your brain takes up a huge amount of energy, we only want to expend cognitive energy on things that are important to us, so that we find important. For the most part, people don't want to expend a lot of cognitive energy. There are outliers. I'm sure many people who are watching here, for example, are probably high in need for cognition, which is a need to think about things all the time. But you have to understand, and this actually has nothing to do with intelligence, as far as we have not been able to relate need for cognition to intelligence quotient, is that there are some people who just, even if they're high IQ, don't like to think about stuff. They just want to grill. Sorry, I'm settling down. Jonas, I'm just so excited. I love talking about this. They're high IQ, but they still want to grill. They don't want to have to think about things all the time. So you have that aspect of cognitive miserliness, which is that we are inherently evolutionarily designed to want to restrict our energy usage into thinking, because, grug need take care of wild dog that attack tribe, right? You need your energy for that, like, from an evolutionary perspective. The other thing that's an issue is, well, God, there's a whole ton of media involved, of media effects here. One of them, of course, is a genociding theory, and one of the big critiques of a genociding theory. Now, McCombs and Shaw in 1972, right? Am I wrong? What's McCombs and Shaw? I have to know this. McCombs and Shaw.
I like whether you're asking me that as if I'm supposed to know this.
Not. No, it's.
And you're the one who's like flying off the handle here, in your little.
I'm not flying off the handle.
Happy, energized
excited.
bunny voice here.
I like McCombs and Shaw. What's the fucking what is the seminal citation? Something that. Oh my God, that's a review. It's whatever. McCombs and Shaw in their initial, I think it's 1972, their initial analysis of genociding theory. Found that there's an astonishing, over 90% correlation between what people read in newspapers and what they think is important in terms of topics, right? Not how they feel about those topics, but what they think is important. One of the most
it's basically programming.
One of the most unbelievable correlations I've ever seen. It's a 0.93. Unfathomable correlation.
This is the point where you explain to the chat what that means.
It means whatever people read in the news is what they think is important in the world.
Good Lord.
Just let Aiden finish your script. I don't have a script. This is just off the top of my head. I will finish my script one day.
Just a reference to the one, the monarchy one.
Yeah, obviously. Thanks, Emperor. But that's obviously sorry. I'm excited. I'm talking fast. I have to slow down. It's so difficult because I'm so excited. I love talking about this stuff. The reality is, though, that whatever people read in the news is what they think is important to them. They're most likely inclined, at least a large majority of people, are not inclined to be we're genetically designed to be cognitive misers, which means that we're not designed to want to think about things too much. And the ultimate sort of outcome here, though, my giant takeaway, and I could get into some more of it, is that people don't want to fucking think about this shit, and they just listen to whatever they hear on the news, and they generally believe that they may not think that politically it's correct if it misaligns with their beliefs, but they're very likely to think that whatever the media is reporting on as an issue is an issue, and they're not going to want to think about it very much for the most part. To do otherwise is anomalous, right? Is that... I'm done my rant. Actually, I'm gonna go grab some cigarettes. So, Spoon, you got something you want to do for like 2 seconds while I go grab a cigarette?
Yes.
Do you have a news article you want to bring up or something? Or do you have a rant?
I'm just looking at one right
rant?
now. Left-wing Baltimore prosecutor Marilyn Mosby is indicted for fraudulent mortgages on Florida homes.
I'm not even at all surprised. Give me 2 seconds, Spoon. I will be right back. Entertain the chat. We have 64 people watching. It's very close to 69. If you could get that up to that number, that would be nice. 1 sec. Be right back.
Let's see, left-wing Baltimore Maryland prosecutor Marilyn Mosby, that's quite a name, an early figure in the Black Lives Matter movement, was indicted Thursday on federal charges for fraudulent mortgage applications on homes in the Republican-run state of Florida. Why do you jackasses always go to Florida? You hate Florida. At least according to your rhetoric anyway. Clearly when it comes to buying homes and weather, it's the place to be. Mosby began a trial in 2015 when she prosecuted 6 police officers for the death of Freddie Gray, an African-American man in police custody. He announced the prosecution as the city was facing protests by Black Lives Matter and riots. Okay, they actually mentioned riots. Critics say she's been too quick to charge the officers, of course. The left celebrated her, of course, she's a woman of color, and then yada yada yada. Hollywood embraced her. The late artist, formerly known as Prince, invited her on stage with... Why Prince, for God's sakes? The prosecutions were sloppy, no shit. The officers were soon acquitted, and her critics began to call for her disbarment. The officers then sued her, but she had immunity for her actions as a prosecutor. Oh, for God's sake. $36,000 as a down payment on a home in Florida. She allegedly also did not reveal her lender that she owed tens of thousands of dollars to the IRS in back tax. Why is it everyone involved with this kind of shit always pays a massive... Yeah, if you guys notice this, whenever you see someone who is grifting with this crap, they always owe an insane amount of money on taxes.
Can you give the TLDR real quick? It just came back. Sorry, what's up?
It's basically...
For me and anyone else not paying attention. Or we could just move on.
She prosecuted some police officers.
Yeah.
Which you probably shouldn't have.
Wait, who did?
Marilyn Mosby. She's a left-wing prosecutor in Baltimore.
Well... Left-wing and Baltimore are synonymous, alright?
Yeah, of course, and Baltimore is also a hellhole. It's left-wing.
Yeah, dude, I grew up in Baltimore, man.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where I've gotten, like, fact check. It's like, fact check. Aiden said she grew up in Baltimore, but she also has said she grew up in West Virginia. Yeah, I did both. I lived in one place between the ages of 1 and 11, and the other place between 11 and 18, and then I moved to Ohio. And there's a meme about that. But Baltimore is one of the most corrupt places on earth. It's absolutely awful.
Basically, she used money for a down payment, but also did not reveal to the lender that she owed tens of thousands of dollars in back taxes.
Oh, how interesting and how convenient.
Oh, God. Like, what kind of mindset do you go, I owe thousands of dollars in taxes. The first thing I'm going to do is buy a house.
Yo, obviously. Dude, this is the thing. People make really stupid fucking decisions about shit all the fucking time. Like,
oh, God.
Okay, and by the way, so we're supposed to be like, hey, democracy is a great system. When people make decisions like this, this is, by the way, that's a facetious argument. It's not the best argument against democracy. I got way better ones. But...
yeah, we have great arguments against democracy.
Just as a little bit of a meme, like, come on now. People constantly make stupid
stuck in Ohio.
Hey, I loved living in Ohio. Actually, I loved living in Ohio. It was great. I really enjoyed Ohio.
Voters view inflation as a bigger issue than the coronavirus. No shit.
Gee, I wonder why. Because when you go to the store and you notice that now it costs more to buy bread, that kind of is gonna get stuck in your craw a little bit, right?
Okay, I want to read this because this headline makes me laugh.
Alright, send me the thing so you can put it on the screen.
I don't often get to see shit show in a headline. And I do now, so it's funny.
Oh, we're in trouble. This is the naughty website. You're not allowed to read from this one. This is a naughty website.
Breitbart?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell, I read Breitbart like
I know I do
at least
too,
twice a week, yeah.
I know, but...
Kamala Harris resets political shit shows twice in 2 months. Her approval rating...
is awful.
I swear to God, is lower than 20%.
It's in reality, it's got to be that low. It has to. I don't think there's any way around that.
I mean, this is. I did want to bring this up, Willa. The approval rating of the current administration is so bad that they're SOSing Hillary Clinton to save it.
Oh,
Hillary
I know,
Clinton,
which is so
who
bizarre. It's so bizarre.
she
It's
hasn't
like
been in politics since 2012,
I can't
and she's
believe
hated.
I can't believe that they're like that. There's all these pieces that are coming out all at the same time. Because again, this is some sort of coordination, I guess. In terms of,
Yes.
by the way, when I say coordination in the media, I don't mean I'm not talking about like some cabal or something. I mean,
Not yet, anyway.
There's only one cabal that I belong to. That's Oozaloo's server, but cabal for everybody else. Also, what I mean is that what happens is that press releases come out, right? So like someone who is working for either they're working for the White House, or they're working for whatever, they're working for the DNC, it doesn't really matter. They write up an article and they send it out to all of these news outlets, and they just basically repost it. You're not supposed to. That violates one of the key principles
they're
of
essentially the
journalistic
third
ethics.
arm of the
They
state.
do it anyway. But it's the same thing. Like, I worked for a company, and I was one of the people who ran the PR department. Now, the PR and advertising department was two people, me and my boss. It was very fun. I really loved working there. And when I describe what I did and what the job was, people think it sounds like a pyramid scheme. It was not, though. It was not a pyramid scheme. It was a legitimate business. But what we would do is
Allegedly.
no, I was. It was I really loved where I worked. It was a legitimately. The guy who owned the company had giant paintings of Ronald Reagan in his office, and he had a picture of Ronald Reagan on his desk next to a picture of his wife. Like, this guy loved Reagan. I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing inherent, but these are very cool people who the whole premise of the company was do shit yourself, pull yourself up by the bootstraps kind of stuff, right? Anyway, I digress. The point is that I wrote the press releases. Yeah, woman in PR, how surprising Artemis Worm. I know, what a shock. Yeah. But regardless, this is before I went and got my science degrees and decided I just liked doing numbers all the time. The reality is, we actually got kind of upset even because we went. I write a news article. I write a journalist piece. We send it out to like 10, 50. Well, depending, because we were the corporate branch of a national company where people owned local businesses. So what would get very frustrating is when I would write a piece for a promotion, right, or where we're just talking up about like how cool our service was, and we would send it out to all of our this was a franchise, right? So we'd send it out to our franchisees and be like, okay, take the press release and edit it to apply to your business, your particular service. And they would just fucking send it into local news sources, and then the local news publications in bumfuck wherever would just print it. The shit that I wrote, being based in Cincinnati, would get published in Austin. That has nothing to do with the guy who's running that business in Austin. The reality is that that's a microcosm, and it's just an example, right? But that's how media tends to work. It's why, and if it seems coordinated, my point in bringing this up, if it seems coordinated, it's because they're getting press releases and they're kind of just republishing what they get sent and not doing any research on their own. Because it's easy. It's easy. People don't like the word. Cognitive mindfulness, coming back to that, right? Reagan was a neolib who gave amnesty to millions of illegals and is the reason why California will forever be blue. True. I agree.
I'm reading this and I'm laughing at this. It says, Vice President Kamala Harris has again reset her political future.
Yeah.
Has she? When did she start doing it the first time? Because it hasn't worked, so I don't know what the hell you're doing now again.
What are you doing?
I think I think if I read now, it might be what. Made by inter-officers, shit-show operations, and unsuccessful political projects. Yes, like looking after the fucking border, which she hasn't even gone to.
No,
She's called the border SAR. It's been completely destroyed.
She did.
Jazz?
I'm pretty sure she did. I'm pretty sure she did.
To do what? Like just walk over and go, oh, look, this is a thing I'm supposed to be taken care of by, and then just left.
It was reported that she did. Whether or not she really did, who knows?
I don't believe for 1 second that she fucking did. But it says there, she's taken a beating in the establishment media for failing to successfully destroy election integrity. Reduce illegal immigration.
Let's be real. This is Breitbart. They have a spin, okay?
Yeah, but that's actually true. Like, if you look at what they're trying to do, it is true.
See, the way that it's phrased, there's spin to it, just to be fair.
But
I hate to be fair to Kamala
but the
Harris,
spin is also true. That's...
Yeah, I know. I'm just
I'm
just putting a little caveat on it.
Or communicate President Biden's agenda successfully to the press. Okay, can I just say, I hate this argument. Biden's problem is not communication. At least not completely. It's
A little
because he's a
bit. Turn on a shot of pressure.
no, okay, no, that is
My
true.
butt's been wiped.
But
He's got a little bit of a problem with communication, my dude.
yes, but yeah, no, that's true. But the reason is his agenda is not gelling is not because his communication is shit. It's because the agenda is shit.
Yeah, obviously.
It's crap. Yes. So it doesn't matter. You can have the fucking best advertiser and person in the world. It's because the product is gay. No amount of advertising and product placement is going to get it anywhere. It's because the product is shit, straight up. And Harris is in reset mode. The second reset into, it's because of the AIDS. Encompassing hiring new communications director along with showing herself in Biden's side for events. Okay, this makes me laugh so much. She has been through, I think 8 AIDS now have left her side.
She certainly
and if you look at her,
that's true.
Yes.
She did visit. She did also. I looked it up. I thought you were memeing for a second in the chat there. Who said this? Nicholas DeWolf. She has not yet visited them in the future of June of 2022, but in June of 2021, she did claim to have visited the border. There's pictures, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We can pull up the BBC article though.
The reason it is funny is because if you look at her history, she's always had a history of being complete bitch to staff.
Yeah.
So this is not new.
She's
so whenever I
to
see
be kind of a cunt.
So if you just have a cavalcade of people going in and out next to you, methinks the problem is not your staff. It's because you're a bitch.
Yeah, probably.
And there's a bunch of people that just said dealing with her is you have to deal with a soul-crushing amount of criticism. That was the phrase that was used, and that she doesn't do the work. She's just like lazy.
Yeah, of course not.
I'm not surprised. Of course,
yeah, I'm not surprised at all either.
Of course, she's not white.
Bruh, I disavow. Disavow.
Have you seen all the females in Congress who are not white? They don't do anything aside from fuck shit up. So I'm gonna stand by my comment.
I wouldn't make a unilateral statement like
Name
that.
me a single non-white person in Congress right now you think does their job. Yeah, that uncomfortable silence is a lot.
Because I have to think.
Because I can't even think. Yeah, I can't even think of one.
Well, okay, that's not proof though. No, putting me on the spot. That's not proof, bruh.
I can't think of one, and I said the question.
I know. I mean,
I like the way that she's conveniently standing in the shade for that shot.
Oh well, right. She's in El Paso. And by the way, El Paso. Hang on a minute. Am I wrong on this? Where's Is El Paso on the border? Oh yeah, it is. Is it? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So El Paso is on the border. Okay, so she did actually go to the border, but El Paso's a giant city.
Yeah. That just tells me she went to the border city. So it doesn't mean she went to the fucking border.
And even if she did, so what? So you can cry at it like AOC did?
Yeah.
Which was pathetic. Come on, dude. That was ugh.
Isn't Boba part Latina? I don't think so. She's an attractive lady. Well done to her.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Gabbard's out, but she's mixed of some sort, isn't she? She's some kind of mix of Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander. Yeah.
I think so, but she's a gun grabber.
Yeah, and she's out
Sticks,
too.
like does not like her.
I
don't
look.
I
She's
don't
a
like
Democrat.
I don't like
but...
I don't like her either. I know people have this like even Republicans have this hard on
Tim
for
Tim Pool. I think
yes.
Tim might have liked her a little bit differently. You know
yeah.
what I mean? I'm joking.
She's attractive.
Tim. She is.
She's attractive and all, but here's
really
the thing.
How old she is. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like she's.
I went to go look at her record. You know? She is like uber leftist as fucking any.
But
yeah,
I think she maybe.
No, I don't like this woman.
When she was getting more involved, she was seeing the writing on the wall of being like, oh man, maybe this stuff's not great.
But
Bo
she,
sorry, that's funny.
One thing I did like about her is she did have this attitude of, I don't think I'll get anywhere, but I can at least take someone down with me. Because she just like fucking battered and bruised Kamala Harris within one shot. Like if you can get knocked out by someone who's like not even on the radar in any way within one foul swoop, I think it's safe to say you should probably not be vice president.
Yeah.
And she's
But
grossly incompetent.
she's grossly. But the thing is, too,
Someone said that she was set to fail.
Kamala Harris is an evil person by leftist standards. She has, as a prosecutor, has put people away for nonviolent drug crimes. Horrible nonviolent drug crimes. I better be sorry for what? Was it for me scrolling over that animal thing? The thing about the rat that I kind of want to click on, but I'm not going to do. Because it's a cute picture of a rat. Sorry. The reality is that Kamala Harris is a fundamentally unlikable woman. More unlikable than Hillary Clinton, which I didn't think was possible to find. But wow, you found a really unlikable person. And with Tulsi, the thing is, yeah, she is more palatable than other Democrats, only because she's more willing to play with the Republicans, not completely underhandedly, right? Do you know what I mean? She's
somewhat.
I said not entirely. A little bit, a little bit. But still, not. Look, most politicians suck. Let's be honest. Doesn't really matter what letter precedes their name. They all kind of suck. Because who gets into politics and why? They get into it for personal power for the most part. There are very, very few. Again, this goes back to the, Marcus Aurelius, that Riverol quote. And the problem with democracy is that people who go into politics, for the most part, they don't go into it for good reasons. I think Trump was someone who did it because he actually cared, I think. Yeah, well, ego was part of it. But he seemed to care. He seemed to care. I could be wrong, but he seemed to. And there are people, obviously the Pauls, they seem to care to me. And I think mostly when you find these people, they're people who are independently successful, right? They're going into politics because the Pauls, for example, both doctors, right? Medical doctors. Both Rand and Ron were both medical doctors. So they don't.
But his father's also one?
Ron Paul's a gynecologist.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're both Dr. Pauls. And so
no wonder he's popular with you.
What?
Sorry.
Fuck you, dude. I hate gynecology. I think it's actually primitive as fuck and barbaric. But having had to deal with some shit because I have a genetic disease.
Sorry, I had to say that.
Fucking rude. Fuck, now I lost my train of thought. Thanks. Oh, shit.
You're welcome.
But the point is that the people who I find who come into politics from a more genuine position tend to already be independently successful. They don't need politics to be their life, right?
Because I'm reading this thing about Harris, right? And it says that she's mulling a heavier media schedule after months of looking warily at such engagement. She is looking to benefit from an extensive schedule of midterm campaigning that aids hope will revive Democrats' faith in their political skill and popular appeal. Dude, you don't have political skill or popular appeal. Like, your career in politics is fucking done. Okay, you're unpopular. No one likes you. You were set up to fail, I think. You were chosen exclusively because of your vagina and your skin color. There is nothing about you in any way that is competent. It doesn't matter what you do because you're shit. You're not prepared for this role. That much is obvious. And it's just funny to me that the entire idea of the Democratic Party is marketing. There is no intent to fucking govern at all, which is why they suck. Because there's no deviation from anything that has caused them to be this hellish in a year. And it's just baffling to me how anyone can do this and not think like, why are we doing so terribly? It's because you haven't fucking done your job, you shithead.
Obviously, as we can see in the polling data, the Biden admin is not going over great, right?
No, to say the least.
It's not looking super hype right now.
No, it's not.
And I mean, what we have to understand, like, and let's pretend, let's go to imagination land for a minute and pretend like tomfoolery didn't occur in 2020. Okay, And there's no tomfoolery.
So this is a fiction reality.
But in our fictional reality, where there's no tomfoolery, and I'm not saying that to be a conspiracy theorist or rude or whatever, but like, just
No, we just saw what
you
happened.
just know some stuff. Okay, fine. But in the minds of the people who did that, and again, I have to go back to Brennan and where these people fall into their lanes of the hobbits or the hooligans, and these are the hooligans, I think. And honestly, what those people are doing, and it might have been the hobbits too a little bit, is that they were told for 4 years that Trump was literal Hitler, and therefore anything would be better. Anything. Like a pet rock would be better as president than Trump. And they did thereby elect a pet rock. But when you elect a pet rock and he sucks, and even with the entire media apparatus behind him to say no,
Dragging the corpse to the finish line, yeah.
Right. It's literally Weekend at Biden's, man. Like, but even with all the media apparatus, and they're still doing it, but they have to admit to a little bit, because the things that they can't deny are the fact that, for example, people go to the supermarket and they see that the cost of bread is up. They see that milk is costing them maybe up to twice as much as it did the year before, right? It's going to be difficult. You can't explain that stuff away. And that actually is why, part of the reason I believe, they're abandoning the COVID narrative.
Yeah.
Because they got to get rid of that. It makes people too upset. They got to get people back watching. They got to, get people back going to concerts, getting drunk in bars, that kind of stuff. Get them back out to have their distractions. When you took their distractions away, you took away their toys. And that was on purpose. Again, coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, absolutely real ass thing. No shit. But it was used as a political tool. And that political tool has outlived its usefulness. And that's what we're seeing now, where, and I hope you guys who are listening have seen it happening, but I certainly have. I've noticed it, is that there's an abandonment of the narrative, that what was pushed for so long that we have to abide by. Is
rapidly going out.
It's going the way of the dodo real quick. And that, now again, like I said, there's people who are fighting for it, and I think they're fighting for it. Some of them are actual ideologues who bought into the narrative, and the people who didn't are probably unhappy about that, honestly. But they also might genuinely, like I said, they might genuinely believe it, or it might also be because, well, we can't just drop it because even normies would notice if we did. We gotta kind of pretend that it's important still.
Yeah. By the way, did you see someone in the chat said this, and I did read about this, that someone posted the idea that the next ticket should be Biden and Cheney. Why?
I mean, fucking legitimately believable, honestly.
Yes, but the funny thing of it is, you want to know something even funnier?
Yeah.
They asked Harris about it to her face.
About the Cheney ticket?
Yes.
What? Really?
Oh my god, yes. And the saltiness from her face, you can just taste it through the screen.
Oh my god. Wait. Do you have a picture or whatever?
Oh,
holy shit, but the whole thing about Biden in the first place is it's people who were like, 2020 fucking blows. I wish I didn't live in this nightmare reality. I remember Obama. I was politically unaware under the Obama administration. I remember being happy then. That's all it is. It's a weird nostalgia thing. The strange nostalgia epidemic, I would say, that we have across, most people. Remember Transformers. Remember Star Wars. Remember this. Remember that. People are longing for nostalgia because the current era sucks. Now, that's not... I mean... Don't get it too twisted. Like, we have way better technology. We have way better medicine and stuff now. We do. Things are progressing in that way to a certain degree. But there's also this perception. Let me ask you this question, Spin, because this is the interesting thing. Is that I find that there's a binary that occurs where people are very of the belief that there's been this march of progress, which is what we face against all the time as monarchists, of people kind of saying, no, things have gotten better. Things have gotten better over time, so that therefore that means that things are better, and by better they mean technology, generally speaking, right? But they're having a kind of weird nostalgia. That's not nostalgic, but at the same time, they're having this weird nostalgia for remember under Bush and Obama, particularly under Obama, when things weren't so fucking awful. You're being nostalgic and against the idea of nostalgia at the same time, of acting like things are always getting better, and yet also being nostalgic for times past. Now, I think that it could be argued that you and I are nostalgic for times past, even though I think we're both very realistic that monarchies are not perfect systems, nor was it great to be a medieval peasant. Although there's a lot of data that shows that it was better to be a medieval peasant at the time than any other system, than under any other system. Because Jesus Christ, I mean, like, what do the leftoids? Sorry to be disparaging. I don't want to use a disparaging term. Yeah, I do. What do the leftoids argue for? Oh, lots more time off, and well, medieval peasants worked for 180 days a year at most. So, there you go. There's one. And their taxation rate was 3%. Just say, doesn't like that low taxation stuff. I don't like that. But if you're under the impression that, like, there's this Robin Hood sort of reality, it was a specific situation. And again, Robin Hood, as a historical figure, was a monarchist. He just didn't like the current one, who sucked. Sorry, I got off track. I got into a weird monarchy rant, which I didn't mean to do, but it is an awful one to happen. And will probably be will to happen monarchy. Here. Will probably be will to happen here. Do you have any other articles or things to talk about? Democracy is just monarchy with extra stuffs. Nah, Artemis. I know where you're coming from. And Artemis, by the way, thank you for showing up. I thank you for inviting me to that. And
democracy is just monarchy with extra steps. How dare you, sir?
Dude, I understand where he's coming from. I disagree. I disagree, Artemis. But thank you for inviting me to that agorism server, because I enjoyed talking to the agorists and the pure anarchists, because there's they have some interesting points, by the way. Let's shall we move on and get off the pure monarchy talk, because I know that if that's all we ever talk about on this podcast, it will piss people off.
Well, it's called The Broken Crown, and it is about monarchy.
I know, it is about monarchy. There's a floating crown on the fucking screen. But otherwise I know it will become redundant, and you'll have to listen to us say the same things over and over.
But the one thing I did want to ask is, how many of you guys, if you follow news, have noticed the phrase "American democracy" is almost in every fucking headline?
It's everywhere.
Every damn day.
It's everywhere. It's inescapable.
And it's really weird, because I was looking at, because if you look at any kind of propaganda, who you should look at is the kind of things that Goebbels has said, and Goebbels has said that the best propaganda does not have to be intellectual. It's basically just beating someone with the same phrase over and over again.
Yeah.
And if you
read democracy fucking forever. Like, they keep.
Yes. You can say.
I just played it a little bit. It's a little real quiet though. But the Inigo Montoya, you keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
Yeah.
And again, the question is, do they even think it means that? And I don't think a lot of them do. Again, I said some of them do. Some of them do think democracy good, end, post. All democracy good, no matter what happens. But like,
if you read Twitter, my God, everyone just thinks like, oh look, if the majority doesn't approve, it's just like, fuck them.
But what's happening right now? We really ran into. Oh, let's get into the filibuster. Speaking of which.
Oh, the filibuster, yeah.
So the filibuster is a perfect example of, it was touted as, well, we need to get rid of this filibuster because it's a threat to our democracy. There's tons and tons of articles that say that the filibuster is a threat to our democracy. Now, Spoon, did the Democrats think that the filibuster was a threat to our democracy a couple years ago?
They did not, actually.
Let's play some clips. Hang on, I'll pull them up here one sec. We'll pull them up. Let me put them in the thing.
Because if you hear Chuck Schumer and Joe Biden now, they're just like, oh, we should end this because democracy is in peril. All of this ridiculous shit.
All right, let's play Obama. Oh wait, I'm gonna.
Oh God, the king words I can't use.
Well, let's play Obama's take. Let me see. Let me have it up, and here we go. Oop. Why is it doing that? Nope. That's because I had the wrong thingy. I'm new to this, sort of. I'm trying to get better at it. I'll get better at it, guys. Let's hear Obama and what he has to say. Let me try to... Spoon, if you could also mute yourself for a moment while I play this so I can turn the desktop audio up. One sec.
American people sent us here to be their voice. They understand that those voices can at times become loud and argumentative, but they also hope that we can disagree without being disagreeable. And at the end of the day, they expect both parties to work together to get the people's business done. What they don't expect is for one party, be it Republican or Democrat, to change the rules in the middle of the game so that they can make all the decisions while the other party is told to sit down and keep quiet. The American people want less partisanship in this town, but everyone in this chamber knows that if the majority chooses to end the filibuster, if they choose to change the rules and put an end to democratic debate, then the fighting and the bitterness and the gridlock will only get worse. Now, I understand that Republicans are getting a lot of pressure to do this from factions outside the chamber. But we need to rise above the ends justify the means mentality, because we're here to answer to the people, all of the people, not just the ones that are wearing our particular party label.
Well, all right. There's Obama on why filibuster good.
But the American people...
Oops, shut up. Filibuster good because, you know, otherwise it wouldn't really be very democratic if the minority didn't have any representation or capacity to influence the political process, would it? That wouldn't be very democratic whatsoever. However, let's also look at, he's not the only one. Let me pull up this video here for a second. That's the same one. What? One moment, guys.
They want to make this country...
Sorry. Again, I'm new to this. I will get better at it over time, I guarantee it. Probably, maybe not. We'll see. So, okay. Let's now watch some other Democrats talk about it. Here we go. And I will turn this up. I'll fix the audio issues more later, but let's go.
This country into a banana republic, where if you don't get your way, you change the rules.
The legislative filibuster should stay there, and I will personally resist efforts to get rid of it.
I'm committed to never voting to change the legislative filibuster.
That would be the end of the
One sec, I'm dumb. I did fuck this up. I'm gonna start over. Ignore that happened. I had the wrong thingy up. There was also a picture of cranberry sauce on the screen while I was doing that.
Country into a banana.
There we go.
Why do you have a picture of cranberries?
It wasn't my picture of cranberry sauce. It was an ad. All right, hang on. Now I'm distracted. Sorry, guys. I stink. All right, we got all our stuff on. I think audio's okay. All good. There we go. Now we'll do it.
A republic, where if you don't get your way, you change the rules.
The legislative filibuster should stay there, and I will personally resist efforts to get rid of it.
I'm committed to never voting to change the legislative filibuster.
That would be the end of the Senate.
It raises problems that are more damaging than the problems that exist.
You cannot change the rules in the middle of the game because you do not like the outcome.
You're going to throw the entire Congress into chaos and nothing will get done.
Change the rules in midstream to wash away 200 years of history.
Nothing at all will get done.
I don't think we ought to be coming in willy-nilly and changing the rules.
You can't change the rules in the middle of the game. Ideologues in the Senate want to turn what the founding fathers called the cooling saucer of democracy into the rubber stamp of dictatorship.
If you don't have 60 votes yet, it just means you haven't done enough advocacy and you need to work a lot harder.
Is ultimately an example of the arrogance of power.
Partisan power grab that will stomp on the rights of the minority and leave Congress fundamentally changed for the worse.
Preserve checks and balances so that no one party can do whatever it wants. It'll be a doomsday for democracy.
The one most important rule that requires compromise, requires working across the aisle.
It is a fundamental power grab.
Will not stand by when a party drunk with power tries to overturn 200 years of precedent.
Ending the filibuster is a very dangerous thing to do.
Wow. Wow. You can unmute now, Spin, sorry.
Wow, it's
We'll figure out a way to make that less annoying. So I don't Spoon fucking mute himself.
it's almost like Democrats are completely full of shit.
Sorry, your audio was probably really loud there for a second. Yeah, they are completely full of shit. Well, or either they're okay. You could say, dude, if they're not full of shit, then why the fuck are they doing this and backtracking on everything they supposedly believed for all of these years? The same goddamn people. That's Joe Biden there like 5 times over, being like, oh,
you know about the theory? You know about the theory about him being replaced by a dummy?
Oh, I've seen that stuff, yeah, but
yeah, the conspiracy theory that it's like, dude, when you look at pictures of him there and you see him now, my mind's like,
Also,
yeah,
we're
we
at
should might look
69
into this
viewers.
conspiracy
That's
theory.
nice. We are
Nice,
at
yeah.
69 viewers. Nice, guys. Thank you for showing up also to this new stream, which is new and therefore
Impromptu randomness is what we do.
it's
Yeah.
not impromptu. We actually kind of worked on. Well, not this one so much, but well, we did. But
We pretty much just went, here's some really dumb things that we're seeing right now that we want to talk about because it just seems wacky and
is that
crazy.
otherwise I would have just called Spoon tonight. We just have this conversation in private.
Yeah,
honestly.
probably.
The reality is though that like that the filibuster issue, you have to notice that the Democrats, they have an issue with it when they're in the minority. Oh, and now it's, how frustrating. It's terrible. Oh, our rights are being diminished. So we need the filibuster, because the filibuster is the way the minority maintains some leverage within the system. And if you get rid of the filibuster, here's the reality. It's not a republic anymore.
Yeah, it's a pure democracy,
correct.
which is really bad.
It's correct. If you want to get rid of the republic, then fine, you get rid of the filibuster. The filibuster is the way that, now, what's the purpose of representative democracy, right? It's so that everyone gets represented. Everyone has the capacity to be represented. If you get rid of it, you're in an actual, real, direct democracy. In which case, the majority has the capacity and will enact this capacity to oppress the minority. They will always do it. The idea that it's preferable for the majority to oppress the minority, only for the majority to change, and who gets to oppress and tyrannize another group is sickening. Is Medica streaming, by the way? Oh, fuck, dude. No, he's not. No way. You're fucking with me, dude. Sorry, what was your response to... Did you like my little rant there? There's no way Medica streaming. Jim's not live, and Jim doesn't want on. I'm never gonna believe you ever again. But what do you think about my assessment there, Spoon? That the whole problem, the reason why we have the filibuster, and the reason why it's important for if we are going to have a republic, because otherwise we need the filibuster, because you need the minority to still have some capacity.
Some semblance, yeah.
Yeah, it's and by the way, like, why is this so offensive? All the filibuster is a politician can get on stage and ramble about fucking nothing to slow it down. It's only a stopgap. It's a doorstopper at the expediency of government. That's it.
I don't think they're gonna pass the voting thing, to be honest.
No, I don't think so either.
No, the one thing that you guys might have noticed, you will see this in the press constantly, is this crap of, our democracy is at stake, we need, with this voter suppression, all of this stupid shit. So I went to look at, because the Republicans have been enacting sense behind the scene and essentially restored some of the pre-COVID shenanigans, because anyone who thinks 2020 was a legitimate election is a fucking idiot.
Hang on, your words, not mine. Not the words of Broken Crown Channel. I guess it is. You're my fucking co-host now. This is a dual venture. God damn it, dude.
Yes. To quote Bill O'Reilly, fuck it. But okay, so I went to go look at
Go ahead, sir.
I went to go look at our website to see what exactly is there issues with the current voting thing. So I went to go look at this, a website from Brennan Center, which claims to be independent. Looking at their language, I'm thinking, like, no, you're not independent. You're definitely left-leaning, which makes it all the funnier. But this is something that's written on this website. This says, at least 152 restrictive bills in 18 states will carry over into the 2022 legislative sessions. And if you scroll down on this piece, this is what they said in Arizona. Arizona legislature has passed 3 restrictive voting bills this year, and they have pre-filed at least one bill that would restrict voting access.
What do you mean by restrictive voting bill? You mean you have to have
Exactly.
an ID?
Yeah, exactly.
Holy fuck.
By imposing stricter identification requirements.
No, they mean you need to have an ID. You need to have a fucking ID.
Yes.
Now here's the
Yeah,
thing. I always want to bring it up. Do you think I can play it without getting copyright struck? Ami
Which
Horowitz video. A little bit of it.
Probably not.
So I won't play it. But if you guys have never seen it, Ami Horowitz did a video a couple years ago where he went to like I think the Bronx, and he asked random black people on the street if
It was
they
a chick who did that.
No, it was a guy. It's Ami Horowitz.
I'm pretty sure it was a chick.
The
video you showed me is definitely a chick.
It's Ami Horowitz.
I could swear to God it was some chick.
It's Ami Horowitz. Ami Horowitz. Is it Ari or Ami? I don't know. Horowitz. And it's voting ID. Yes, it's a guy. It was posted by It was on Fox News. He did this, but he went. This is okay. I actually don't think it'll be an issue. This is a mainstream media thing, so let's just watch this real quick. I'll put it on. We can watch a little bit of this. Why am I? Oh, I'm getting ads because I'm on the Broken Crown channel, which unfortunately it does not have YouTube Red. Although I will sign it up for it maybe at some point. Let me post it here. We will watch it here. Let's watch this a little bit. I think this is actually fine. Fox News does not often claim things, which is cool because, well, I don't know why, but Fox News doesn't often do it. Well, let's watch a little bit of this. If you don't mind muting yourself, though, while we watch a little bit of it.
Yeah, right.
Because, again, until I figure out the audio and how we fix this, that'll be the best way to do it. Let's just watch this for a little bit. If you want to say anything, just unmute, and we'll pause, okay? All right.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and I'm here in Berkeley, California, to find out if voter ID laws
Sorry, I
suppress
said it was
the
New York,
black
it's
vote.
California.
Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you say they're
So
would you go as
racist.
far as say they're
You
those
can
laws are
talk,
racist?
Spoon,
For
by the way,
sure.
just it
You
won't
think
play
it
on the same channel, that's not the
suppresses
issue.
African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described.
You can talk, by the
or
way, Spoon,
required.
just saying.
These type of
I'm
people
just
don't
monitoring
live
the
in
audio to make sure it's not
areas
in
with
balance.
easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also would make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay
So black
an
people don't
internet
have access
service
to the
provider
internet?
for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
Black
A lot of people
don't
have
know how the
smartphones,
internet
but you might not
works.
have
Alright.
data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or like they're
Oh
not
my
informed.
God.
I also think there's
This is so
a repression
overtly
of
racist.
like black
Whatever,
voting with,
dude.
how if you're a convicted felon, like you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida, that's a huge population of
Okay, so
of
all
the,
black
like,
people are convicted
African-Americans.
felons, also,
Now I'm
according
here
to this
in
lady.
East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like, we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Dude, the one guy's like, is this some
I heard a lot also
candid
that,
camera shit? Are you
black people
punking me?
Can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know
He
where
knows
the
the
DMV
street
is,
it's
Ryan?
on.
It's on 125th Street and
They know the
3rd
street
Avenue.
it's on. They know
wanna
exactly
get
where the
there?
DMV is.
Do you have a problem getting there if you have to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to
Again,
get to DMV?
they
You
look-
know where it is?
Yes.
You can
You
get
could
there?
say this is
No
edited
problem.
and
No problem.
all me
Just
like,
checking.
of course
And
it
I also
is.
heard a lot
It probably
that
wasn't every black person you
people,
talk
especially
to.
poor black people, have
but
no access to the internet.
Come on,
Can't
now.
figure out
This
how
is
to use the
insane.
internet.
To act like black people don't know how to get an ID.
Stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet.
How you gonna buy more liquor? That was a joke. Please.
I had access to the internet for years.
But seriously,
like, I do it at work.
I love the way that one black woman was surprised at like how racist white people are. It's like, really? We're not surprised at all.
White people think we don't know how to get IDs.
Unlimited. Unlimited.
And white liberals are like really racist.
What does that mean to you for the people
yeah,
who
they
have
are.
this perception about you?
They're pretty much ignorant.
God, it's fucking bad.
I just think that's ignorant.
Ignorant.
Ignorant. That's the word
Very,
I hear
very
a lot.
ignorant.
It is fucking
Very,
ignorant.
very ignorant.
Is it sound
Honestly, it's
racist
racist.
for somebody to say that?
I don't
God, yeah.
I don't throw that word around willy-nilly like others are wont to. But I frankly think that it's racist.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
Judging somebody, like
even though black people don't think it's racist as much as I do, I'm more likely to think it's racist than they are apparently.
Who are these people talking to?
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, "Can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Are you
Love showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, "Can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are"? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you had to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah.
Would you have an issue
No
if
shit.
there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
nah.
Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Well, there we go. Thank you, Ami. That was a fantastic video. I really appreciated that he made that, by the way. He went out and asked people, because that's the... to me, it's incomprehensible that you would say black people don't... I don't even want to say this, because it's awful, but the reality is that people on the left act like black people are too stupid to know how to get IDs. I don't think that. I guess you do, homie. Not everyone, but it's a weird flex, right?
I also like the unusual confidence that all white liberals have when they talk about this issue. Oh, like, yeah, blacks don't have ID because, like, you know, they're not smart enough to get IDs there.
But none of these issues were all being raised, by the way, like 5-6 years ago, right? That black people can't get ID. But there's no question right now about vaccine passports, are there? And their potential racial implication. How odd. To me, that I find it very interesting. Gotta show my ID to get a drink or a smoke. It's a fault of capitalism. I don't know if it's a fault of capitalism.
You are trying to make sense of this, which is not going to work.
I'm Artemis Worm, who's a cool guy in the chat. I don't think that's an inherent fault of capitalism. You should have to maybe prove who you are a little bit, because I don't.
This isn't the fault of capitalism. It's the fault of democracy.
No, you get my anarchist side worked up, and I'm like, oh, who cares? But people can do what they want. But children are a protected class. They are a protected class for a reason, and they should be if there is such a thing as a protected class, the only protected class.
There are sheep in this scenario.
I'm just saying if there is going to be a protected class within any society, the only protected class I think there should be is children, because children can't make decisions, and they can't. They just don't like it.
At this point in time, I don't think adults are.
You're joking,
exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. I don't think adults make very good decisions either at this point.
Well, no, of course adults don't make good decisions, but that's why we're against democracy, because of course adults don't make good decisions. But
yes, and we would like to have all the power concentrated into the hands of a few, because they make wiser decisions.
But let's be clear about who the hands of the few are: the people who own the land, people for whom they are invested in the welfare of the land. People who are temporarily elected leaders or oligarchs, they don't care because they just go away, right? They die.
Yes.
With a monarch, and this is why I actually think you do need the heredity line, and which we talked a little bit about earlier. Like, do you need heredity? I think you kind of do, because if it's, and this is why, for me, the reason why I think you need the heredity line is because people, this is evolutionary psychology, will want to protect their progeny outside of psychopaths, which you're going to get no matter what. Like, that's the other thing about the monarchy stuff. It's like, well, what if you get a psychopath? Yeah, well, you get a psychopath no matter what. And I can go back to that Riverroll quote, right? You're going to get psychopaths no matter what. You're going to get also, in the US, we currently have a senile old man who shits his pants, who's running the state, right? That's not great either. The best you can kind of do is hope for, and this is my opinion, the best you can hope for is someone who has vested interest in the welfare of the state, and I think that you get that better under a monarchic system than you do under a democratic one. I could be wrong.
Yeah, because their reign is temporary and they don't give a shit.
Well, because their reign is obviously temporary, and there is no repercussion for them doing terrible shit. You've see too much history to think that they would. Artemis, I agree, and I understand where you're coming from, but you have to look at the longitudinal nature of monarchy versus the very short longitudinal nature of democracy. Try to compare them. It's very difficult to compare something that's only left in Greece. If you look at Greece and Rome and their experiments with democracy, it's not going to like look great there either, by the way. So, whereas monarchy has been the most stable.
It's been the most stable form of government in our species.
Yeah, and then this is also it's our first podcast, so I guess we should say this. Everyone here is probably who is here, and thank you all again so much for watching. Is probably familiar with me, at least, if not you, Spin, knows that, yeah, Commodus, yeah, we can talk about Commodus, but is probably aware, though, that I think that neither one of us are saying that monarchy is some kind of panacea, right?
Yeah, it's not.
There's no such thing.
I just think it is better performing than democracy.
Right, and Artemis, the thing is that I think what both of us would agree to, and what we all kind of agree to, is that there is no perfect system of government. There can be no perfect system of government because government involves people, and people are imperfect. That's inherent.
Yeah.
We would, unlike a lot of people who advocate for things like communism and socialism, they're advocating for utopian ideas. We are advocating for anti-utopian ideas. I think, actually, and correct me if you disagree, Spoon, but we're arguing for literally anti-utopic ideas of recognizing the reality of how human societies work and trying to figure out how to best organize them in a way that would promote and promulgate liberty with the minimal amount of
state overreach.
And yes, thank you, and tyranny.
Yeah,
that's always the point.
I said this before, and this was an interesting concept because when it comes to accountability, there is this thing with us, and this is, I think, everyone. They want politicians to face some repercussions for their sins, at least in this lifetime, anyway. And Molbach said this, and this stuck with me because this is an interesting way to phrase this. He said, if you looked at Germany post the Second World War, the federal government of Germany to this day still pays retired Stasi and Wehrmacht officers.
I know, how weird, right?
It has been accepted that those regimes were part of the German state, and if you served in them, you were entitled to your pension. So his point was, if you're going to establish a new regime, what you do not do is go after the old regime, because that causes instability in the new one, and it causes complete chaos. This is why you never see any politicians as soon as think of when America engages in the transfer of power, so to speak, that it is a new regime coming in, and this is why the old ones never go, or the new ones never go after the old ones. It's because it would completely destroy the stability of the old one, and to us this manifests itself as a complete unaccountability. It is, but it is also the mechanism that keeps the new regime stable and functional. Otherwise, it will collapse the moment. Now they're trying to do that with Trump, and you see how it just manifests itself in the fucking population. Never mind the machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a good case in point for this is not something to be done. Now the problem with it is it does cause complete unaccountability, and power spirals wildly out of control. That's the problem.
Yes.
And we don't know how to deal with that in the current time, and that's why I started looking at other forms of government, because this was bugging me, was just going like, how the hell is this a good system? Because people just behave with impunity.
Well, you and I both came out, I think, out of the same paradigm, which is that I'm well, for me, obviously not you, but for me, I love America. I fucking love the American experiment. I think it's fantastic. I think America's, the things that it stands for are wonderful, wonderful ideas. But when you actually go back and look at the things that the founders were talking about,
they were really autocratic.
They were autocratic, and they were absolutely not convinced that democracy would work. They were looking at the Greek model and hoping against all hope that it would work. Unfortunately, right now, I don't think it has. The experiment, I believe, has failed. We've had 300 years to test it. I wish. This is the problem. I wish it worked. Of course I do, because of course I wish that people voting was a good idea, but the reality is that it's too open towards
corruption,
external influences, and corruption. Yes, completely. Yes, thank you, Spin.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem with it. Not to say that monarchy is not also prone to this, because again, there is no perfect system of government. But I think that monarchy, and as we said earlier when we were talking about like how the politicians that are the least able to be influenced are those who are, who come into the system with a pre-established either job or profession or a lot of money.
Something to fall back on, yeah.
They tend to be the ones who do best and tend to be the most incorruptible. There is no such thing as being incorruptible, of course. And I think this is where we diverge from our political philosophy, from a lot of the other, I would call... why is it actually, that, and I can ask you this question, that we get called reactionaries? Well, no, neo-reactionary is what Moldvik, I think himself maybe accepts as the term.
It's neo-reactionary. Because it sounds cool.
I don't know if it sounds cool, because it sounds like we want
I like the phrase neo-reactionary. It sounds badass.
Maybe, but it sounds like we want to like destroy society, and I don't like
that. We do.
Yeah, but
so does Michael Malice. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, I agree, and I agree with Michael Malice. The thing is that I think we the funny thing is, I think that
there's a lot of overlap between the anarchic and the monarchic model. Yeah.
Anarchists, actually, we have way more that we agree on than we have to well, we have lots to disagree on. But comparatively to having this kind of argument, like a person who is hyper involved and supportive of the current democratic republic, or really a democratic system. If you're in favor of a democratic system, you gotta be taking some weird Kool-Aid, man. But or if you're in favor of communism, I think that those people all have far more involved and aligned with one another. Whereas I think that people who are like ourselves, who are advocating for monarchic system, have far more involved with people from the anarchic system, because I came into monarchy from the position of an anarcho-capitalist, and that was to maximize individual liberty. It's always been to maximize individual liberty. So if, yes, okay, Neon Rebel. Sorry,
monarchy is the worst form of government besides all the rest. Winston Churchill of US base.
The Winston Churchill quote. Yeah, but
is democracy. Yeah.
I know. But like, actually, that Churchill quote gets brought up all the time. But the reality is that like, there's no great system of government. There is no perfect system. We only have to try to figure out what lasts best and what maximizes freedom, and there will never be a perfect system. There's a real reason why people uprose against the monarchies in the 1700s, okay? Let's be real. We can't deny that that's a reality, because of course they did. Shit sucked, comparatively, and in their perspective it sucked. I think they were doing an experiment. They didn't know where it was going to end up. But they saw shit as sucking for them. And that, we can't question that. But when you have to like look at what was sucking for the Americans, why they hated, like this is the real question to you guys in the chat, and please be aware of this. What were the Americans so pissed off about? Okay? They were pissed off about the cost of tea. Artemis, I know, agorism is better than Incapacity, I get it, but the point is, when you look back and you see why they were pissed off and why they overthrew the monarch, it's because they thought they did not have representation. Now, why do they think they didn't have representation? Because their representation was 4 months away, 3 or 4 months away. They did not have the ability to more accurately and directly access their monarch. And you never probably will, but there's a lot of reasons why monarchy is probably a better system in terms of protecting human freedoms.
than any other system. Because under an agorist or an anarcho-capitalist or any kind of anarchic system, there's very little protection there at the broader level. And we understand this as someone who is also alliant or amicable towards anarchy and anarchic systems. We always end up at the same fucking argument, which is like, well, how do we protect the system? How do we protect it? How do we make sure that we could be capable of having this anarchic system and allow it to exist without being crushed by some external force? Well, a monarchic system is a protective shell around it. That's kind of... otherwise, you can engage in some of, I think, the best and most accurate and close ability to get close to pure anarchy under a monarchic system that you can't get under a democratic system at all. Democratic systems and Republican systems, I do not think, are good for maximizing personal liberty in the way that anarchists do. And I consider myself something of an anarchist, so whatever. Sorry, it's kind of a rant. There's no way we weren't going to do this podcast and not end up talking about monarchy at some point, so here we are. What's your opinion, Spoon?
Well, the main thing I still keep thinking about is the democracy one. Because I'm going to do this in a video tomorrow. Because the one thing that is unusual about democracy that we think of is when we think of centralization. We always use centralization as a bad thing. But if you look at a CEO in a business,
sure.
That's a centralized figure.
The mold bug ideas. So people are going to get upset because a lot of people have issues with mold bug. Whatever, it's fine.
If you have issues with Moldbug, it's because you're gay and stupid and you don't get his ideas.
Listen, everyone here, like here's the fucking issue that you and I are gonna run
Moldbug
into
is
very
gay.
Shush. The issue that you and I are gonna run into very quickly here, Spoon, is that everyone in our audience is highly intelligent and has read this stuff. So we're not speaking to plebs like the way that most people do streams and do podcasts, right? We're going to be speaking to intelligent people, I would imagine, for the most part, who have read a lot of this stuff. So Moldbug, if people have issues with Moldbug, I understand it, but Spoon is about to give the Moldbuggy an argument about the CEO. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if you look at the CEO, if you look at the CEO model, the CEO is usually appointed, held accountable by the board of directors. You've got shareholders, and they've got managers, regional managers, departments, whatever. And if you look at that model, all of them work in tangent. They'll have, quarterly meetings, annual meetings, and they'll look at the process, whose hours can be cut, what can be taken out. They trim the fat essentially and boil it down so that the whole process is streamlined. It becomes more efficient, and that all trickles down to a cheaper and more effective product to the consumer. And this is the free market model at work, and it works rather well. But when it comes to government, all of that gets thrown out of the window and is subverted entirely. Instead of having less people that you have with the business model that makes everything streamlined, more efficient, we have more people, which makes it inefficient. We have more people, which in a business model makes everything more expensive and unnecessary. And in the government model, this makes everything more expensive via the taxpayer. So the cost is shelved to them. And all of this is done under the guise that more people somehow mitigates the influence of corruption. And that's why we have the separation of powers. This is not true. This does not mitigate corruption. It in fact makes it inevitable. Not only does it make it inevitable, it makes it more expensive and difficult to suss out when all of the accountability is spread on a giant bureaucracy. So everything that you do as a safeguard is not a safeguard. It makes everything more efficient and allows corruption to thrive. Nah, that's a bit of a red pill for you because most people don't ever think of that. But when you put it that way, like, oh shit, yeah, that is actually what we do.
Yeah, and also I want to, Sir Marhouse, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, if you want my idea of how to install a monarchy in the United States, by the way, I think we're kind of like on the track to do that no matter what. I mean, currently the way that things are going is, well, I'll put it this way. The Democrats have made it very clear, and if you read their writing, currently, they
want communism.
They call it tyranny when they don't win, and by the way, the Republicans do this too, and that's all gay. But the Democrats are a little bit, if not way, more egregious in this in their contention that anything that goes against their plan is tyranny.
So that's a problem. But I would say, if you would like my response, I will read off what Kunat Lenin says, which is I agree entirely with his proposal. Hang on.
They literally think Trump winning in 2024 would be a right-wing coup.
Yeah, right.
This is literally what they say.
So
they say Trump's inevitable coup in like every. Bear in mind, this is Salon, and therefore it's funny in game. It's funny.
They know they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose. So
this is why they're trying to do the shady voting shit, because they know that they will lose if they try to do it on the merits, which they don't have any.
I'll have to have like the Kunat Lenin system. Like I'll have to like have this as like a go-to if people ask me for like what I propose. So I think Kunat Lenin has a really good idea. I'm not married to it, but I think it's a good idea of how you do marry the two ideas, to use that terminology. So he, and I will explain, as I have explained before, my issues with his system, is that you would have several systems that would be involved in the government. You have an elected diet of representatives. This is the voting part. This is the democracy, because Kunat Lenin was not proposing a complete monarchic system, right? And I would say, and if you want to read the definitive work on monarchy and why it's a preferable system to democracy, Kunat Lenin is probably, that's where you start, right? You know, you can go down the rabbit hole after that, but that's where you need to start. So it's an elected diet of representatives, and there will be a non-elected executive branch of people from all levels of society who are able to pass some sort of comprehensive or competitive examination, and they would only act on a 2-year probation, or they would need to act on a 2-year probationary period, so that they couldn't just immediately go do whatever the fuck they want until it could be proven that what they were doing was legitimate and they're not insane, basically. These two branches, the elected diet and the non-elected branch of experts, quote unquote, would temper what is good with what the people want, because what the people want is often wrong. People often want to do things and want things for themselves that are bad for them. We have to all be very clear and honest about that. I think anyone who's not being silly has to understand that, particularly after this COVID shit, we have to accept and understand at this point that people often want things that are really bad for them, right? What do you think, Spoon?
I think the majority make really stupid decisions. In fact, especially in the last 2 years, I think if you were to make the honest assumption that, I don't know, that democracy is the thing that safeguards our rights, like, no, it is not.
But okay, but we have to be real. Like, people often make bad decisions for themselves. So, Artemis, hang on, we'll get through it. So you have the elected diet of representatives. So you do have a democratic element in this system. You have the non-elected executive branch of people who have passed some sort of test, and then they have a 2-year probationary period. Then you would have the monarch, who exists beyond them. That what Spoon and I, neither of us have been able to understand or to really answer the question of is how do you choose the monarch in a country like America, or, you know, well, you're probably better off in South Africa, I guess. Like, you're closer to a monarch than we are. We threw ours off, you know. But it would probably be the British monarch, I guess, for us. But I'm not saying that's what I particularly want. Is now by the way, the Queen is fucking based for just completely removing all royal rights from Prince Andrew. Holy shit.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty ballsy move. I didn't actually think the Queen had it in her, because I definitely think the Queen has a bit of a shady history.
Yeah.
But I don't know how far that would go. That's a little out of my historical pay grade, I guess I would say. But yeah.
Yeah.
But the people are retarded, yeah. That's a great clip. But that is true. That is the reason why democracy always spirals into tyranny, because you get the many who vote for things. Like this is something that I wanted to say to Adam.
It always will. It always will devolve into tyranny because.
Yes. Oh God, I'm thinking about what Adam said with the just keep printing money.
But.
That was so bad.
The reality we're living in right now is evidence prima facie of how it works, right?
God, the face on that is fucking unreal. I can hear
Sorry,
it from
it's
here.
Sprite, dude. I'm just trying to drink some Sprite.
The most carbonated beverage on earth.
But like, it's super evident though, is that what happens in our democracy is that people abuse one another. They restrict each other's rights because they have the ability to, knowing that their rights will get restricted back, or that's at least the sort of trade-off. Like, oh, you get to abuse and tyrannize me for a little bit, but it's okay because I get to tyrannize you later, maybe. That's not a good system. It is not a good system. I hate that.
Okay, somebody said rule by experts is what you're advocating for.
No, we are not, actually. If I could
we're not advocating for that.
If I could continue to work, to go through Kunert-Lenin's system. And by the way, Spoon, I believe, does not agree with me and Kunert-Lenin's system. I don't think that you agree with a system as being...
No, I like the Moldbug one. Give me like the absolute, give it like complete power to the one person. Like, yes, I prefer that.
Dude, I wish it was Sprite Cranberry. Just regular Sprite. Okay, so you have these two. You have the elected Diet, and then you have the non-executive, the non-elected executive branch of people who are able to pass a sort of examination that shows that they know what they're talking about, and then they can't do anything for 2 years until they've proven that they're not insane. Then again, you have the monarch, and the monarch is informed by a crown council. The crown council will be comprised of his appointed advisors, his personally appointed advisors. Now that could be dangerous, as we saw with the Trump administration, because sometimes you get your stupid fucking son-in-law who's an idiot. It would also be comprised of representatives of the Diet and experts, as well as members of the Supreme Court, and I will get into now what the Supreme Court would be. The monarch would essentially, though, serve as a mediator between the experts and the will of the people, with the monarch having the final say. This is the important part, so that, like, if there's stupid shit happening, as there often is in politics, the only purpose of a monarch in the system that I'm suggesting is to basically say, like, hang on, y'all are being dumb, y'all are being silly, to step in and say this is a bad idea. Now, the Supreme Court, this is Kunert-Lenin, I don't agree with this. I think it should be very similar to how we do it in the United States, of legislators and lawyers who have a long history, but he says they should be appointed by the churches and the universities. I completely disagree with Kunert-Lenin on this. Completely disagree. I don't think our system is necessarily best, but again, we are not arguing for like a perfect system. We are arguing for what's a better way to organize society, preferable to a pure, let's be honest, America is very close to a pure democracy at this point, and that's not a good thing. We all recognize it's not a good thing if anyone's being legitimate and serious. But the Supreme Court under Kunert-Lenin's system could be vetoed by a 2/3 majority of the Diet. The Diet is, again, the elected representatives by the people. So the people can, if they truly hate the things that the Supreme Court has done, which would be matters of law, they could override it. So people still have rights within the system. And it would examine the compatibility of laws with the Constitution, and this is a constitutional system, by the way, so that certain rights are guaranteed. Life, liberty, pursuit, I believe. In my opinion, the Constitution should be that short. Life, liberty, pursuit. The end. Like, I do believe that should be the Constitution. The end. Up for interpretation, that many fucking words. You have the right as a citizen to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think any constitution should end basically after that point. Because that all leaves everything else up for the realm of legislation and the legal system. But you have a right to life, liberty, and pursuit. The most fundamental and sacred parts of law. What do you think? I'm very big on life, liberty, pursuit.
Yes.
That's foundation.
People seem to think that basically the reason why we favor monarchy is because the state grows inevitably out of control and you march towards tyranny and democracy. Mm-hmm. Which is why, like, Michael Malice, when you had Joran Brock on Lexus
great
on Lexus show, yeah, where he said Jefferson is a fraud. He said, if you look at what happened, everything that he said, that Hamilton said that would happen, that they feared, actually came true. Because he said the government will centralize and it will grow into mass bureaucracy. And that did happen. So what the original founding fathers were weary of was actually true. It did come true. Now you have a massive state and it's fucking enormous.
Yeah.
And you've got thousands of bureaucrats.
The state always moves towards greater size, inherent.
Yeah,
this is the problem why we're trying to
again, if people are having a hard time understanding us,
It's not surprised.
Well, no, it's fine. But like, the reality is that like you and I are we're both anarchists, I think, or leaning towards anarchy. I was definitely an anarchist, and we're trying to figure out like how to make society work best, and to avoid restrictions on liberty. And
you basically want to rapture from BioShock without Andrew Ryan going insane because
Andrew Ryan has no. There's nothing in there that kind of mitigates Andrew Ryan's insane stuff. So, okay, going back to the Supreme Court, which again I disagree with Kunat Lenin's churches and universities. I said probably should be legal scholars, but they can still be vetoed by a 2/3 majority. But that would examine the compatibility of laws with the Constitution and morals and ethics. They hold absolute veto over the monarch. So, like, even though the Supreme Court can be vetoed by 2/3 majority from the Diet, which is the elected system, if the Supreme Court decides that the monarch has gone insane, they can veto the monarch out, right? This is why I like Kunat Lenin's system, because it provides a series of checks and balances on a monarchic system that's mixed. It's a mixed constitutional democratic system with the monarchy. And I really like this system. I'm not saying it's perfect, because there is no perfect system, as I've said over and over. And also, admittedly, there's no way that church and university shit doesn't piss people off, because it sucks. I gave my, I think, update to what I believe should happen from Kunat Lenin's proposition, which he made in the 1940s, 50s, I think. When did he write this book?
1952, I think.
Yeah, I believe you're correct.
Something
Fantastic
like
book.
that,
If you haven't read it, it's not the only book we're going to recommend for you guys to read. Like, we're on an adventure here, guys. Like, this is going to be stuff that a lot of people have not heard of. And also, I'm not the only one talking about this. If you have not read, if you're not subscribed to Scrump, please subscribe to Scrump, because he talks about a lot of this same stuff. This is not a weird fringe idea anymore as it once was. This is now becoming increasingly mainstream. It's becoming increasingly mainstream because people are seeing the issues and the cracks in the system, and we're trying to figure out how do we maximize the liberty of man without
becoming bloated out of control.
Yeah, without going through a horrible situation where people get abused. So the Constitution would exist to protect the rights and liberties of man. Again, life, liberty, pursuit. I believe those are the rights of man. The Diet restricts the ability for anonymous mob rule to take hold while still giving people a say in the process. That's because it's tempered with that non-elected executive branch. Then there's also my just notes on this is that, yes, the system proposed is a government from above system, but all governments sans democracy, pure democracy, which is, I think we all admit, is horrifying, are also democracies from above, or excuse me, systems from above, governments from above. But it removes the power of the majority to become a totalitarian system by eliminating political parties altogether. There's no political parties in the system. People of different political views would be able to find their way into that system either by their election into the Diet, or by merit into their being put into the non-elected executive branch, right? So you still will get a variety of ideas. All officers must make an oath to uphold the Constitution, but for such an oath to be meaningful, religious conviction and thereby fear of religion sanctioned by God is necessary, or by death. And I would say that's kind of a part where you get another issue. This is just Kunat Lenin. I'm reading Kunat Lenin. Yes, this is largely ruled by elites, but given we must have government, is it not better? And that's a caveat. Must we need government? I don't know. But I think we do. I think we do.
Yeah, because I like anarchy, but anarchy requires people that are extremely moral. And I think that is not the vast majority of society. I think that is a fringe few.
Yeah.
You can have it. You can have it in because for example, Urania in South Africa has that.
Actually, Artemis, I'd love to have you on in a future stream if you'd be willing to. I asked you about this a couple weeks ago or whatever. If you're willing to come on and explain your anarchic proposal in antithesis or in opposition to this proposal by Kunat Lenin, because I think anarchists, and as I just said a couple minutes ago, I think anarchists
and monarchists are better at able to understand and talk to each other than maybe any other systems. People who are advocates of any other systems. So, just to finish off, yes, it's largely ruled by elites, but given we need government, yeah, it's better to be ruled by the best rulers than those who are most popular, because popularity sucks. Like, this is what I can't understand about people who are so adamant for democracy.
You're already ruled by elites now, and they're part of an unaccountable, decentralized web.
My point is, like, did you guys not go to high school? Did you not go to high school, dude?
Okay, anarchists definitely have ethics. That's rubbish.
No, literal god, anarchists do have ethics. I don't want to, like, I guess I could say we, but like,
stop thinking as anarchists as people who just want to destroy.
I even though I'm advocating for monarchism, I've been anarchist for a large majority of my life, and not a majority, but a large portion, and so anarcho-capitalist, but like, no, we definitely have ethics under anarchy. It's how we make sure those ethics don't get abused by bad people. That's why I think the monarchic system, which is an overarching system that just goes around the anarchic system that exists underneath of it. That's the kind of position that I think we're both advocating for, Spoon, which is that, like, you allow for anarchism to exist in the maximalization of its degree for freedom, and the way that we allow for anarchism to exist in its maximal degree is under a protective monarchic sort of sphere, right?
Yeah.
So
what is it? What is the best government institution that will protect your rights without strangling you? Essentially,
right,
is the basic argument.
And it's funny because, like, I get called a fucking meme all the time. Like, and I understand why people think it's a meme, but it's like,
I do agree with Vincent Marston, by the way.
How can you be a monarchist? How can you ascribe to a centralized system of government? By the way, it's not as centralized as you think. In fact, it's minimalization of centralization. You do have one central figure, but other than that actually reduces centralization, because centralization is a giant issue.
Yeah.
Centralization is one of the biggest issues with democracy. Right?
It's probably the main fucking issue.
Yeah. Centralization sucks, and it's why you get so many issues with democracy. Whereas we are advocating instead where we have a central figure, but other than that, we minimize centralization outside of the one central figure.
But I did say this in the thing that I wanted to do a video on tomorrow.
I know you think I'm wrong, Artemis. We'll talk about it later, but like.
but I said the thing with centralization, or something that people don't seem to quite understand, and I've seen many people, they have trouble wrapping their heads around this idea, but they have trouble wrapping their heads around is the size, scope, and enforcement capacity of power, especially when it comes to centralization. There seems to be a misapprehension in the case of displacement of power, the idea that the size and scope of power is fixed. And if one were to drastically reduce the size of the state and remove the institutions, rather than them dissipating with the exodus of the bureaucracy, the power that remains will all be condensed into the few that remain post-culling, i.e. centralization would take place. And I keep saying to people, centralization doesn't mean anything unless there is a capacity and exercise to enforce the power.
Yeah.
Like you can, if you reduce the federal government today by 90%, and the bureaucracy is shattered to pieces, do you think that the government is going to have more or less power? It'll have less.
They would have
so just because
less.
there's less people in government doesn't mean they have more power.
Yes, just because there's fewer people in government actually does not mean they will have less power, because you've given the power to the government. You've already given up your rights. We have given up, in America, for example, like, I mean, I know. So, Spoon, if people aren't aware, and again, this is our seminal episode, so you should maybe be clear, that you live in the UK, but you're from South Africa.
Yeah.
So your perspective on things is a little bit different than some other people's perspective of seeing how your home country got, let's be honest, fucked, right? By democracy. By democracy. Are you not going to willing to say that?
The mob rule.
It's mob rule fucked South Africa, yeah?
I'm just going to say this: do not give people power who have no idea how to wield it.
So.
And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Before someone gives me those things, some really real shit.
At some point, we will do a book review of Into the Cannibal's Pit. Is that what's called? I believe. Into the. I just got it in the mail the other day. Cannibal's Plot.
Oh, the.
Lessons from America from post-apartheid South Africa.
Oh, yeah, the lady.
But yeah, Ilana Mercer, which she's very cool. I really like Ilana Mercer. Every time I've heard her speak, she's very eloquent and seems to understand.
We should email her and see if she does to come on here. We'll have a discussion with her.
That's already happened. Don't worry about that. The reality is.
Oh, you've already messaged her?
Dude, I'm on game.
Okay. Bloody hell, you're gonna have a guest list of people. I'm gonna have to like fucking amp up my game here.
The reality is that like that book it discusses, and it's a fantastic book. If again, I'll post it. Can I post it in the chat?
By the way,
Cannibals Plot. Yeah, Into the
that's,
Cannibals Plot.
someone said to me that's based I
should. Oh, hang on. I can use an Amazon link.
I would consider myself a fairly good boy when it comes to my sort of libertarian views for the most part. However, in my own country, I would be borderline authoritarian.
Well, that's horrible, dude.
Yes, but look what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, I guess so. If you're interested, though, there's that book. I've started to read this book as well. I've been reading. Well, I've already read a good majority of it online, but I really need like physical copies of books to really digest them. I don't know why. It's just how I am. I need to be able to like highlight stuff. Very great book. Interesting stuff about how democracy didn't work out great in South Africa, right?
Oh, it does really, really badly, actually.
I'm surprised that I've read more of it than you have, then, Spoon, considering that.
I lived it. I don't fucking need to read about it.
South Africans. Bruh. That being said,
don't worry. When you talk about it and fuck up all the names, I'll tell you how to pronounce them correctly.
I don't care about the Dutch, honestly. So I'll intentionally.
Oh God, not
Dutch
this again,
words.
you Welshoid.
No, fuck you, dude.
People need to understand this about myself and Aiden. She has a go at the Dutch because apparently someone in Amsterdam once pissed her off on a trip, and
no, just one person.
Yes.
I've had everyone I know who's Dutch.
You disparaged the entire land because of a bunch of
Dutchoids. Everyone I know who is Dutch is super fucking rude, so that's why.
That's because you insult them constantly.
I didn't start insulting. You're the only Dutchoid I insult. The people who I insult I don't insult people who are Dutch. It's just, I know a bunch of Dutchoids.
You call me Dutchoid, that's kind of offensive.
Oh, I'm sorry. You called me a Welshoid, dude. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My people are tall and like cheese and windmills, and yours likes to shag sheep. Anyway.
Okay, well, right. Hang on. We're gonna get into this shit. 1 second. We gotta get into this for one moment. Now we have to get into the fucking. Here's the drama, right? Here's the drama of the stream. Here's what makes it fun. Now people will watch because there's drama happening. Drama alert. I don't like the Dutch, and I'll tell you why I don't like the Dutch. It's because everyone I know who is Dutch is lame. They're all like, dude, over the fucking pandemic, all of my new were like super like fucking govern harder, daddy. I can't wait to be governed harder. Oh, I want to ride my bicycle. I just want to ride my bicycle.
There is one fag on Discord that pisses you off.
No, it's not on Discord.
It's not all of them.
No, it's like 3 of them, dude. But there is one Dutch person I like, but they're half Indonesian, so like whatever. I'm not saying I dislike the other people, like, by the way, like, cause fucking
Ask
Dom,
Sticks.
Fucking Doom will inevitably hear this, I guarantee. So, Doom, I don't dislike you, but you're kind of anal retentive, alright? He knows that. Doom has to know he's anal retentive. Just saying. That was a message to a very specific person, and just saying, that the Dutch have a tendency to be a little bit anal retentive.
I don't consider myself anal retentive.
Well, you're not Dutch. You're fucking Afrikaans.
Oh, that's mainly Dutch.
I know, but it's different. It's totally different.
Yeah, we're better.
Using fictional communist propaganda as my source. I've not done anything like that. Homie. Artemis.
Fictional propaganda.
I'd never do that. I mean...
What did you use? What's the fictional communist propaganda?
It's fine. It's fine. We've been going for 2 hours. Do you have any other news you want to cover, Spoon?
What do you mean 2? There's 3.
Oh, fuck, it has been.
Yeah.
What do you want to do? Do you want to anything else you want to cover?
Not that I have off the top of my head right now.
Well,
I think the Build Back Better agenda is gonna die.
I agree. I think. Well, I think it's dying. It's crib death shit right now.
Oh, look, here's a headline right now. The coup is all the way down.
Of course it is, dude. Of course it fucking is, dude.
Listen to this shit, right? This is a perfect example, right? This is from this is table. I don't even know what the hell this is, but it says it's a coup all the way down. Non-stop dramatics about the GOP threat to democracy, which is amplified by you fuckers constantly, is part of an attempt to cement Democratic Party hegemony, not ensure election integrity. That's fucking true.
No shit.
The Democratic Party's message ahead of the 22 midterms appears to be simple: vote for us or democracy gets it. That's kind of true. That is actually what they are saying. If you scrub the bullshit, yeah. I'm worried that if Republicans win in the midterm elections, they will be voting as we know it. The country will be gone.
Be afraid. Be very afraid, because it's gonna happen.
Be afraid. The red wave is going to kill you.
Here's the thing, by the way. I don't want that either. I'm not in favor of a red wave. If the red wave means more fucking horrifying GOP rhinos, I don't want that shit either. I hate that crap.
Then they're not gonna get. Yeah. No, Trump is going heavy with the endorsements.
I think people misunderstand where I come from, and I'm just trying to be clear about my perspective. Even though I consider myself a conservative, I consider myself a conservative only because I really despise the way that the left tends to organize itself and the things that they promulgate, which I think are horrifyingly terrible for society. Truly, they're bad for you. They're bad for me, and I don't want them. And I don't even live in the U.S. anymore, so my level of fucking like investment here it is still a 10 out of 10. Like, my level of investment has not dropped, but it can't affect me anymore. That's not my point. Is like, I'm still invested even though I'm not there. Because it's my country, and I love my country. I truly do. I'm a hardcore fucking American. Like, dude, I love the United States. We gotta figure this out, though. This is not working out well. And the Democrats, I think, are very aware that their shit's not going to work currently. That's why 27 of them have said that they're not going to rerun. But a GOP red wave is not also a good thing. By the way.
No, it needs to be a populist red wave.
It has to be a populist wave. If it's more GOP,
a lot of them are being primary
conservatives. Though. Yeah, but if it's just more conservative rhino fuckboys, I don't want that either. That shit fucking sucks.
I do get the feeling that it is more populist, because if it was just traditional Republicans that are easily controlled, there wouldn't be this much of an outcry.
I agree. I hope that's. I just actually hope that is actually how it.
I kind of want to read this because this is really, really funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen, like, this is. Tell me this isn't at all alarmist rhetoric. Eric Swalwell, during a recent MSNBC appearance, this is not only the most.
You pronounced his name wrong. His name was Swallowwell.
He's the one that was banging Fang Fang, wasn't it?
Yes, that was Fang Fang. Yeah, he swallows well for sure.
I can see why he did bang her, though. She is pretty hot.
She is. I mean, but whatever.
Yes. Yeah, but like, God, still, why the hell? If we don't get it right, it could be the last election. Yeah, sure it is, kid.
Oh my God. I mean, whoa, look at this doomsday ass shit. They always do this. By the way, like, hang on. Let's be clear. The right does this too. This is why I hate bipartisan politics, and it all freaking sucks.
In fairness, I can sort of understand why the Republicans are going apeshit, because. Well, look at the Democrats.
Yeah. To be honest.
Yeah, so I feel like their alarmist rhetoric is more grounded in actual fucking reality.
Dude. Hilarious.
Yeah, whereas like with the left, with the right, it's a warning. With the left, it's pure fucking projection. Like, oh my God, it is fucking dripping from them.
Yeah,
across the progressive Democratic messaging infrastructure, which is really ineffective, by the way, the party and movement have rebranded themselves as the protectors of the democratic ideal. That's like the fucking irony is just it's beautiful.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, which in their this is fucking true. Which in their telling is on the verge of extinction. That's very true. President Biden has.
Whoa, are they legitimately like saying that their party is on the verge of extinction? That's from their nomenclature.
no, if they've become the stewards of democracy.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Essentially,
Yeah.
is what they're trying to say.
I misunderstood.
President Biden has warned that GOP election laws that would, among other things, require voters to write down their state ID number on absentee ballots are the equivalent of Jim Crow on steroids, while more or less comparing Virginia's Republican governor.
Steroids, that shit. Like that's so.
Yes,
By the way,
Jim Eagle.
You're so fucking. Yeah, Jim Eagle. Holy shit, you are
God,
so
that's
fucking.
cringe.
That's. Let's be honest. That's racist. You're legitimately fucking being a racist cunt by saying shit like that and not understanding the reality of the fact that black people were horribly fucking mistreated for the majority of the United States history, and you're just making a fucking meme out of it. You ding dong. Fuck you, dude. Absolutely fuck you. Sorry, I'm a little mad.
Yeah.
I hate that shit, dude. It fucking
The
fucking
one thing
rustles my
that
jimmies.
the one thing that is really funny, and I said this in my video earlier today, is that if you look at the situation, which makes it really funny, is the Democrats will constantly invoke the 1960s when it comes to this whole Voting Rights Act thing. But if you look at the actual voting right in the 1960s, it required voter ID laws because in discriminatory areas, it would very likely that black people's votes would be diluted. So the voter ID was a safeguard against this.
Yeah.
And now it's called racist. It's like, what the fuck is
it's
going on?
unfucking believable, dude. It's unfucking believable. Like, okay, here's the thing.
the
We
fuck?
put voting ID laws in place in order to be able to, in part, protect. Well, it's to protect citizens.
Voting integrity, yes.
And voting integrity, but also to like make sure that real minorities, black people who make up 13% of the United States population, can have their actual voices heard and not be treated like shit and not be fucking run ruckshot over by the Dems who want to just say like, oh no, this is what we think that black people believe, so therefore that's what black people believe. You are being fucking terrible, dude, and shut up. It's awful. Stop it. It's terrible.
Oh my
Sorry, I
God.
really hate that crap. It really fucking triggers me. I
I'm
hate when white rich liberals pretend like they know what black people like and want. I absolutely despise it. It's my my
yes,
fucking
Hillary
trigger.
Clinton with the hot sauce in the handbag.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Like the hot sauce thing. That was so weird, right?
I like when
I
she was
carry
asked, "Are you
Tabasco."
pandering to us?" Then she said, "Is it working?" Like, oh, that's the worst
I
fucking
know.
answer.
Like, by the way, one of my Christmas gifts was a giant what would you call it? It's
Apple
this
with her face on
hot
it?
sauce collection. Tiny little bottles of all different types of hot sauces. Because I actually do enjoy hot sauce. It's alright if you don't. Why is this a racial thing? Weird as fuck. Why did you think, you ding dong bitch, that it would be like, oh, I align with the black people because I enjoy hot sauce? You're a racist cunt. You think that's this real ass shit? Go fuck yourself, dude. Sorry, I hate
You
that
know,
stuff.
if she was growing up in like the 1950s, she would be the person that would clutch her handbag when the help came around.
Oh, I know, of course.
Yeah, she would definitely be one of those people.
Oh, she grew up in that. Yeah. Well,
Oh yeah, of course. She was a fucking Goldwater girl.
yeah. So she understands.
Yes.
Crazy ass shit, man.
I love the fact that her name is being brought up again as someone who is going to save the Democratic Party. I mean, she's the reason it fell to Trump in the first place. So why the
are they
fucking hell
doing
that they?
Dude, that
Because
I have a real
they don't
question.
have anyone
Why are
else.
you doing that? But
Because they don't have
that's the
anyone
thing.
else.
Oh yeah, who else are you gonna run? AOC.
Yeah.
Because
I wanna
that
ask-
is the real
I wanna-
question.
I wanna ask the chat right
guarantee,
now.
I guarantee, my dude, they're gonna run AOC in 2024, and that's
No.
gonna be a fuck. No, well, she will run for president no matter what.
She needs to be 35 years old to
Yeah.
run, so that's 4 years from now. So she won't be in 2024.
Oh, she won't be. I thought she was able to. Actually, I thought she was
Oh,
able
she's
to.
the same age as me. No, you need to be
Wait,
35 to
same
run
age
for
as
president.
us. We're the same fucking age, Spoon. God damn. I thought she was
Yeah,
able
but-
to. I thought she was able to, though, but I guess I got that fucked up. So you have no AOC. Who you gonna get? Who you got? Who
AOC
who
who's
is your
gonna-
Democratic fucking god? What are you gonna do?
Okay, let's ask the chat right now, guys. If you were to run a Democratic candidate right now, who would it be? And it's not Clinton.
Clinton would be my last fucking choice in the whole fucking universe.
Even her own advisor said to her, "Don't run. Like you're
Well,
done."
I know, like, who would do that? Like, again, okay, so I only have so much knowledge of these kinds of things in terms of like my individual.
Chuck Schumer, get the
interaction.
fuck out.
Oh, Chuck Schumer, that's a real that's a real no starter. He's a white guy. I'm putting white in quotes, but like
So is Biden.
I know, but I'm saying like.
Do you know why I can never take Chuck Schumer seriously?
Tulsi's left. Samaras, Tulsi's gone. She's not. She's left politics.
She's independent.
Yeah, she's apparently leaving. She's not going to be involved. So that Tulsi can't be. Gillibrand, probably, maybe. Yeah, thank you, Newly Fliver.
Gillibrand.
But let's just use Newly Fliver. By the way, thank you for showing up.
Yeah, Kirsten Gillibrand maybe. Joe Manchin probably.
No man, no. Okay. Manchin barely won his election versus the Republican who went against him I can't remember that guy's name. He wasn't a great contender, to be honest. I went to one of his.
But
I don't remember. Okay, he went against. Hang on, in 2017.
But he is the. If you were to think of someone right now who is the closest to a centrist, it's probably Manchin.
But you don't understand why. I do. Unfortunately,
He's in a very conservative state.
It's 2018. 2018.
I'm not stupid,
Patrick
you know.
Morrissey. So I went to a Morrissey
How dare you.
rally. I went to a Morrissey rally in West Virginia that Trump spake at. It was amazing. It was because it's Trump. By the way, like Trump. Let me tell you the thing. One of the things I love about Trump. There's other things I like about Trump. I'm not gonna suck his dick because he's a flawed person as anyone else is. Let's get fucking real. Trump was not a perfect president by any fucking definition of the term. He was not. But I went to a Trump rally to promote Patrick Morrissey, who was running for what was he? To defeat Joe Manchin, right? Patrick Morrissey sucks. Don't vote for him either. He's a fucking old ass shitbag as well. I don't care. It's probably better that we got Manchin because Manchin's like an actual Democrat who's willing to say
person who
no.
represents his state.
Yeah, who's willing to say no.
Yeah.
This horrible shit that's happening.
Manchin is an interesting character actually because I said this before.
It's so
really.
Oh my god! Can I tell you a really funny thing, real quick before you get into that? Is that when I was covering the election in 2016 and I was responding to it on Twitter and I was just being like, oh my god, I think Trump's gonna win. He took West Virginia. People were like, he took West Virginia. People were like, who cares? Of course he did. That's a stupid conservative state. And of course I went insane because I'm like, no, West Virginia actually is not a conservative state. You fucking illiterate. But what's interesting is that West Virginians did not go along to vote for Patrick Morrissey because he was a cunt. They went with Joe Manchin. Cause I'm not saying that West Virginians are super smart, but they're looking at some stuff a little bit deeper than I think people in other states are. And the reason I think maybe they are is because our state has been totally fucked by politicians for a very long time. So it's not the kind of same situation that you get in a state like, I don't know, California, where people just abide by whatever rule they're given. Oh well. I could be wrong. It's funny though that now when I see people like talk about it, like West Virginia is a far right state. It's like, oh my gosh, my dude, you don't know. I see it all the time. People respond to me and they're like, Aiden, West Virginia is a far right state.
I don't think they know what that means.
No, what they mean by that is hello, I am an idiot who doesn't know anything about anything. But I think this is the thing I think because they voted for Trump. And they literally like 2 years later, a year later voted for a Democrat. West Virginia is a far right state. Fuck off. Your political acumen is literally in the fucking toilet. If you think things like that, you shouldn't be allowed to fucking make political statements on the internet. Just saying. I mean, you should be allowed to, but I should be allowed to fucking make fun of you because you're a fucking moron. God damn, dude. So dumb. I'm sorry. I don't know, like, Spoon, if I start talking about South Africa, I guess you get fucking mad, but, like, this is the thing that fucking pisses me off to the nth degree, dude. I get so mad.
No, you can talk shit about my country all you want, as long as you do it truthfully.
No, but I'm saying, like, if someone was like, hey, Spoon, South Africa is actually a fucking, it's a, utopia, because black and white people live together. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. It's awful.
I think I would take a hatchet to their head.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, that's the kind of shit I was hearing about in West Virginia. I was hearing about West Virginia. Like, oh, it's great. It's the best fucking thing ever. Fuck
Oh
off,
wow!
man.
I just read a paragraph in this
Bruh.
in this piece. This is probably the most accurate piece of leftist critique I've read in like 2 months.
Interesting. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it says, but if you sincerely value liberal democracy and not just majority rule, but open debate and the protection of individual and minority rights, it can be hard not to notice the irony.
Oh,
A
no,
political movement that has worked
they don't value any of that,
so
though,
hard
so.
to censor and marginalize its opponents in virtually all institutions is claiming that it is now represents the vanguard of democracy. That's fucking bang on.
Where'd you read this?
Tabletmag.com. They're basically just shitting on the Democrats for being...
That's a completely
too
accurate
basic.
assessment. It's a completely
Yeah,
accurate
this- yeah.
assessment. Which is that... And what you guys have to understand, and something that we're going to, unfortunately, I think, hammer on as we go forward with this podcast, is that there's a weird thing where you get this word democracy used over and over and over again to describe what is not democracy. It's not even...
Yeah.
Well, by
You're
democracy,
describing mob rule.
they mean mob rule, but they don't actually mean like political. They don't mean it in the political sense. They mean it in the sense of mob rule. So that's what they mean. They're very clear about it if you look into it just for a fucking second. But you gotta be really clear when you see that word democracy to understand what they mean. And they mean mob fucking rule. They mean we need to import more people into the United States so that we can get more people to get along with our fucking political ideology, which, by the way, is not going to work out well for you if you look into the Hispanic population, because they don't agree with your shit, by the way.
Yeah, that's the big thing that Democrats are worried about, is that they've hemorrhaged Republican or support to the Republicans because, unbeknownst to them, bizarrely, it turns out that the Hispanic population, because they're Catholic, are quite conservative.
You can promise them as much money as you want, and that's what they do. They're like, we're going to promise you more and more and more money. More and more money. We're going to give you money, literally, to vote for us. Which is insane, but
Yeah.
we will give you money to vote for us. But we're also going to teach your kids that they should be gay, or trans, or whatever. And Hispanic Catholics don't like that at all. What a surprise. Hispanic Catholics don't want to deal with your CRT bullshit where you tell them that the fact that... And by the way, most Hispanic people are considered white. That's why you have to attack, in any polling data that exists, you click Hispanic, white. But a lot of them pass as white, okay? So they don't want to be treated as, let's not be clear in just a second, but third-class citizens because of the color of their skin, which is racism and terrible and tyranny, and I find it fucking hideously disgusting. And so do Hispanic people. They also find it disgusting. They won't go along with it. Oh, I moved to this country so I can escape from the shitty commie hellhole that I got away from, so that I can be treated as a third-class citizen because I could pass as white? Are you fucking kidding me? Hideous. So tired of that crap, man. Sorry, I'm a little bit aggressive.
No, you're good. Wow, this is a long article, actually. Oh, this is a guy. Oh, this guy's a freelance writer. Wow, I'm surprised he doesn't actually write for somebody. He's got fucking good points.
It just absolutely blows my fucking brain, dude. Like, why do you think that it's a good political move to just call like half of your... First of all, the main supporters of the Democrat Party in the United States are white women. Let's be very real. So you have to say, like, okay, you're all evil. Vote for us because you're evil. And then the other people you're trying to convince to vote for you are people you're also calling evil because they are white passing. And by the way, half the black population is not willing to accept your shit either at this point. That's also been a big move because they don't like it either. This is a dying goddamn fucking paradigm. I think it is dying very quickly, and that's why you see it's the actions of a dying animal. That they are desperate, right?
Yeah, which is why it's
wrong. I
funny.
could be wrong. I don't know. It's not funny. It's scary, man.
No, it is funny because they're gonna die out.
It's scary because you don't know what a dying animal will do. A dying animal will do terrible things.
But they're okay. But I agree. But the dying animal is also shooting itself in the foot while still dying.
Yeah, I hope you're correct. I hope you're correct.
Well, we can see it. Like,
yeah, I mean,
what's the last
it's
year?
happening right now. It's happening right now.
Yes.
That's why they're all resigning. They're saying
They're
saying
funny.
they won't run again. They won't run again.
I remember reading an article. This was just post the Virginia election with Youngkin won, where a bunch of
remember how that was evil? It was terrible.
yes, but the think tanks interviewed Democrat voters in in Virginia, sorry,
Be
who
clear.
could not tell.
It's all right. You're not from
Yes.
here. It's fine. But go ahead.
Yeah, but they could not tell the pollsters what the party actually stood for.
Of course they can't.
See, these are Democratic voters who could not. They voted for Youngkin, and when they asked, "Why didn't you vote for the Democrats?" Oh, we don't know what they actually want. Like, hello, does that not tell you something that your party is shit? And the reason I found it funny.
We've been doing this polling for decades, and it's been the same exact kind of representation and analysis that we found for decades. That people who vote, by the way, for either party, don't get this shit twisted. The vast majority of voters don't know what they're voting for at all. They just vote based on R or D, whatever is on the sheet. And unfortunately, the Democrats have, well, fortunately or unfortunately, the reality is that the Democrats have they control all of the media. Oh, that's not a conspiracy theory, guys. It's just the truth. They control all the media, so everything you see is from a Democrat perspective. So then people end up getting, well, convinced that that's the right thing. I have to use the restroom. I'll be right back. Hang on.
Someone should talk about the conservatives trying to secede to other states. Guerrero, Ohio. Yes, I know one of them want to. I think it's from Oregon. They just went like, we just want to be part of Ohio because our state is shit. I don't know the legislative capacity to be able to do that, but I know it is being pushed because they're so sick of the shit in their state. They want to be part of another state. I think probably state legislators have to be involved, and maybe the federal government in some way as well. I don't know, but I have seen that in the news. I actually think at this point, you guys would be better off separating, because the blue states will just crumble into like communist shittery, and the right would be the right side will succeed because they're not, well, fucking stupid and insane. But yeah, that's gonna end well. And I'm looking at certain things here as far as the news goes. My god, like, it's just...
Okay, sorry.
The voting thing is just...
Well, it's ridiculous.
It's just insane.
It's absolutely ridiculous. We watched that Ami Horowitz video. So, the idea that black people can't understand how to vote, some of the most fucking racist shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. Dude, it's awful. And ultimately, the reality is, people do have the capacity to vote. It's the only problem is they're not voting for who the Democrats want them to vote for. And if you looked at some of the stuff that happened in the 2020 election, I'm going to just say it right now, because, sorry, we have to be clear. Look at Louder with Crowder. Crowder covered a lot of this stuff. Other people did as well. He's not the only one, of course. Which is that they came by and kind of offered incentives to people to vote. Once you do that, that's not legal. But why I changed my voice? Because I got off the mic for a second. But they, you can't actually know when they do this. They call it vote harvesting, right? And they say this is good because, oh, what's good? Because that way, like, people don't have to go out to the voting booth. It's good. It's good that we go out to the fucking voting booth, or they don't have to go to the voting booth. We go to their houses. Except for the reality is that, like, you can't understand or know, because no one can know what they do when they go to people's houses and say, hey, give us your voting, give us your vote. Are they giving them as they did in Arizona, I believe, a raffle ticket? Because that's what happened in Arizona, was they said, we'll give you a raffle ticket so that, like, if you can, vote Democrat and you can win money. That's horrifying. It shouldn't be allowed, but it is. Well, I think it's contested now, but you're going to always have these kinds of issues in a democratic system, where you can basically pay people to vote for you, right? And then now what they're contesting about, this whole shit that's going on in the Supreme Court, right, is and elsewise and in Congress, is that people are mad that we're doing ballot harvesting.
Yeah, welfare is vote harvesting, that's true.
That we're doing ballot harvesting. But it's like, well, yeah, they're mad because you can't know what someone's doing when they go to harvest the ballot. You can't know that. Sorry if my voice sounds different. Everyone thinks my voice sounded different after I went to go pee. Sorry.
Don't you think this sentence sounds really funny? They will never let us vote, but we will not stop voting.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's an actual sentence I just read. This is from an actual article.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
from a writer.
Wait a minute. Okay, can we read that one article before we go to bed on this?
The black guy who wrote like the insane shit.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
Oh my god.
Okay, guys, please, if you also, couple things. I'm gonna click my fingers. Couple things. If you are supportive of this stream, please show it through by subscribing. That's the best thing you can do to make sure that we get more people involved here. If you really enjoy it, please share this stream with other people, because this is a new podcast. This is a new show. We are brand new. 123 subscribers is kind of insane just off of me promoting it on my Twitter and stuff and on my YouTube. That's a crazy amount of people. But if you enjoyed this so far, please share this out. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Share it to friends. Let us know if you like it and what we can do to make it better. But I think what we can do, probably to end this off, is this hilarious fucking article. Can we do that, Spoon?
I will try and read this and not fuck it up and yell.
Hang on. Send it to me again so I can put it on the screen. It's so funny.
God.
It's so funny.
I'm going to try my best and not to say some really, really real shit.
You can't use that nasty word. I know you want to use.
I'm not going to say the N word because it is cheap, and I think I can do better.
Okay.
I'm starting to think of like all of Uncle Ruckus's words.
This is one of the fucking funniest shits I've ever fucking seen. I would say like, really, it's not like that insane, but it's
pretty close.
It's indicative of an endemic issue. So I will put this up on the screen here in just a second. Oh my goodness, it is very funny. Dude, whoop.
Get VTuber avatars, fuck off. I'm not doing that.
Oh, consent, yeah. Okay. They Will Never Let Black People Vote by Michael Harriot.
This is not a very intelligent man, by the way.
No, he's not. I've read this article.
He's insane.
I think this person has maybe some mental health issues, if I'm going to be completely honest. He has some mental...
Or he's a grifter.
I don't know. Something's wrong with this dude.
Yeah, he's clearly fucking out of his mind.
He's not doing great. Let's read through this article. Why don't we trade off? Okay. You do the first 2 paragraphs, I'll do the next.
Okay. Once while riding the back of an old canary yellow station wagon, I interrupted my grandmother's favorite song to explain why voting was so exhausting. Before the days of ballot harvesting, I don't know why that's in quote by the way, that is literally what happened, and election fraud conspiracy theories, otherwise known as the truth, my sister and I would have to walk door to door with my grandmother as she hunted down anyone who recently relocated to the neighborhood, just turned 18, or otherwise hadn't registered to vote. Sounds like she was doing the ballot harvesting.
This is kind of weird though, like, even what his grandmom was doing, right? Or his mother. You see, his mother, his grandmother.
Simping for the Democratic Party.
Okay, grandmom. It's kind of weird, just in my opinion, to go around and bug people and be like, did you vote for our party or not?
Yeah, it's kind of culty.
Are you voting for my party or not? Because if you would like to know how like this manifests in psychology, not well, it's going to be that the person is going to go, oh yeah, I'll do whatever you're asking me to just to avoid conflict, right? They're going to do what they're going to acquiesce. That, I guess, is a social science term, right? They're going to acquiesce because you ask them to and because you approach them. So this ballot harvesting shit does actually have a problem because you show up and you go like, hey, have you voted for Democrat XYZ? Yeah. Or no. And if you say no, well then like now you feel this is most basic persuasion research. It's so simple. This is basic psychology stuff. This is like freshman level psychology. Dude. Continue, friend. Sorry.
Said we have to make the rounds again to distribute sample ballots before every election, and there was always an upcoming election.
Of course there is. I'll continue. I'll read the 2 paragraphs, and then we can... we get to do like a back and forth talk maybe here. At first, it seemed like an adventure. I knew which lady would offer popsicles, and which family served the best Kool-Aid. Well, you're certainly serving the Kool-Aid, aren't you? But as the years went by, and canvassing interrupted playground basketball games and birthday parties, we dreaded this ritual full of wondering which house had a mean dog, or standing on a stranger's porch while my grandmother listed every single person. Sorry, website change. Well, my grandmother listed every single person who had died since the election. So, when she informed us one night on the way home from church that it was canvassing time, I moaned loudly, asking why we had to do this every election, and when would we be finished with this candyless trick-or-treating project. The car fell silent. My sisters and cousins hung their heads as if to say, "You're on your own with this one." My grandmother was not an argumentative woman, so she rarely raised her voice, which is probably why my mother turned down the radio's volume, cutting off James Cleveland's choir mid-sentence. "Ain't no finished, Mikey," my grandma said blankly. "Just this." And that was the end of her speech, and the choir resumed their song. You want to go ahead?
This is a story about Joe Biden. Oh God, if only.
I know, this is where it gets hilarious. This is just so funny.
Yeah, this is just
This is
so
where it gets hilarious,
dumb.
dude.
Yeah. Even though he is the de facto leader, barely, of our national political institutions and the most powerful man in America, he isn't even the most powerful man in every fucking room he's in. Fuck off. He cannot fix democracy.
Incomprehensible, my dude. That's so funny, man. Go ahead.
Even
I'm
if
sorry,
Biden,
I'm gonna shut myself up. Hang on.
Even if Biden somehow managed to strong-arm the uncloaked Klansman from West Virginia.
Never mind, no, I can't.
He just called
the
Manchin a
uncloaked
Klansman.
Excuse me. Do you know who Hillary Clinton's mentor was?
Oh, what, Robert Byrd?
Robert C. Byrd. I'm trying to bring up his Wikipedia so people can understand it. If you don't know, Robert C. Byrd, who was a politician from West Virginia, was a grand fucking cyclops in the KKK.
Yeah. So Hillary clearly loves black people.
Well, she clearly does, but if you're not aware, and I will, I'll just share my screen real quickly. How do I do this? Hang on 1 second. Oh yeah, okay. If you're not aware, Hillary Clinton, in one of her speeches, called Robert C. Byrd her mentor. Now, Robert C. Byrd, this is him.
He's a very bad man.
He was a major member in the fucking Klan. Can y'all see this? He recruited other people to be parts of the Klan. Okay? He was a grand cyclops. That was his position, I believe. I could be wrong. He was some kind of cyclops. I don't know. I don't care about your stupid esoteric fucking dumbass organization, which is gay and lame. But This is Hillary Clinton's mentor. By the way, my dad also worked with Robert Byrd, and he was like, the last thing my dad remembered about him was that he was screaming about Shelby Moore in the he was like, Shelby Moore, and screaming about her. The man was old as fuck. He was a fucking goddamn racist Klansman. Hillary Clinton was his bestie. Guess what? Fuck this shit. Let's continue. Anyway.
I've lost my place now. Wait.
He's from West Virginia, by the way, Robert Byrd. That's why I brought him up. He was from West Virginia. He was the U.S. Senator from West Virginia for over 51 years. I'm not proud of that, by the way, as a mountaineer, but that was the case. So.
Here we go. Or Karen Senator from Arizona into supporting democracy.
Rude, by the way, Karen Senator. You can't say Kristen Cinema.
Instead of using the filibuster as a tentpole for white supremacist politics, it is still would not guarantee the end of black voter suppression. First of all, what the fuck does that have to do with voter suppression for blacks? Secondly, this is why it's funny.
It's not. No, it's because it's all bullshit. It's all a lie.
No, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that the person seems to understand this.
Yeah.
But Manchin and Sinema are both from red-leaning places, and they like the fact that they're senators.
Yeah,
so what they will not fucking do is go to Washington and support their stupid shit when what Washington wants is not popular in their fucking states. Like, if you, in the wake of Manchin saying no to the Build Back Better thing, every fucking autist was screeching to the high heavens that Manchin is an asshole, he sold out West Virginia like Bernie said this shit. And then you look at polling from Manchin's state, his approval rating shot up by like 16 points.
Yes, of course it did. Well, I mean, again, like, I'm not going to go too off on, I'm a West Virginian, so, like, we're weird. I do believe this. Like, by the way, anyone from every state knows how to defend their state by being like, no, we're different than you actually think that we are. Okay, I will always be that way about West Virginia. I will defend my state and try to explain, like, why we're a little bit different. But the reality is we are a little bit different. The difference is, interestingly, we're 3 fucking electoral votes. We shouldn't fucking count. We shouldn't matter. And yet, what are you hearing every goddamn fucking day? Oh no, Manchin is blocking shit. Manchin is doing bad things. West Virginia is fucking us up. West Virginia has been a blue state for 70 fucking years. Don't fuck around. They're doing this because you're screwing shit up. That's why. And, like, the reality is also, that makes me fucking sick, is that Democrats hate us. They will make... Let's be real, guys. Like, if you're here watching still, be real. They have made so many jokes about how funny it is to be a West Virginian, like how we all fuck each other's cousins and stuff. How funny. It's so goddamn funny. West Virginians, oh, we're the worst. We're a bunch of, like, fucking hillbilly hick fuckboys. They will treat us like shit and then be like, well, we also demand your, we demand you to do what we tell you to do. Excuse me? Pardon me? I don't think you got this shit right. You demand that we be that we follow everything you do while you call us horrible names constantly? Oh, fuck you, dude. I'll continue. Oh, where were you? Sorry.
The president should use his bully pulpit.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. This stupid website is so full of ads, I can't get rid of it.
Yes, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act cannot do it, nor can grassroots organizers. The president should use his bully pulpit and Congress should dismantle the filibuster. There we go, case in point. To fight voter suppression. And if we've learned anything, voter suppression just means voter ID.
Yeah, it means
that's
the modicum. Yeah.
Now, this is the reason why this is so funny. Still, I have yet to hear specific action or thing that Biden or the Democratic Party can do to secure black people's voting rights. Maybe we should ask ourselves, what if there ain't no finish? First of all, you fucking...
Like this? Why are you type like this?
First of all, can I make a point of this?
Yeah.
Black women vote like 90% for the Democrats. They are the most stable, dependable voting bloc. Is because...
I would, as Kanye said, new slaves. I'm quoting Kanye West, not me. Kanye West called them new slaves. That's his words.
That's because they are.
You made a new slave class, my dude. You made a new fucking slave class.
Now, this is how this even gets any stupider. What if there is no single answer? There actually is, and you have voting rights, and you've had them for fucking decades, you imbecile. Throughout the history of this country, oh, this ought to be good, there is one enduring constant that is as steadfast and unmovable as the resilience of black people, he says while fucking moaning all damn day. Like us, one all-American precept has endured slavery, Reconstruction, Jim Crow, the Civil Rights Movement, and every microsecond of America's existence. They will never allow black people to vote.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Wow, that was weird.
It's incomprehensible. I'm posting a comment, but like, be honest, Sad Wings Raging. We burn couches in West Virginia? We sure do, but only when we win. We do absolutely burn couches. Burn couches! It's a weird... Don't worry about it, Spoon. You wouldn't understand.
No, I don't do dumb shit like burning couches.
Fuck you! You don't understand. Dumb South African motherfucker. Where are we at?
Asshole. It's even before American ended its constitutional system of race-based human trafficking. Ugh. Free black people who existed actually before that, by the way, if you read Thomas Sowell's books, were restricted from voting in the majority of America. Yes. Either by law or in practice. After the bloodiest war the continent has ever seen, white men in the South and in the North committed themselves to a terror campaign to convince black people that participating in the political process was a life-threatening endeavor. Well, you're kind of doing the same thing right now, by the way. They enforced it with church bombings, police beatings, and extrajudicial death sentences. Voter suppression provoked the longest filibuster in U.S. history, a bloody Sunday, and an untold number of massacres. After the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which actually required voting ID, which you now think is racist.
Yes. Which does. Oh my god. By the way, again, let's be really fucking clear. Just fucking slow ass pause. If you want to buy cigarettes, you have to have ID. If you want to buy alcohol, you have to have ID. And yet what is this bizarre reason that we're seeing like, oh no.
If you want to buy a gun, if you want to drive, if you want to open up a bank account.
Buy a gun, it's not just ID. You have to do a background check in most states. You can't just buy a gun. I think in this point, the majority of states that even allow guns to be purchased. Which, by the way, we got some old ass guns here, but you're here in the Isle, in the UK, you cannot just walk up and buy a gun. You cannot just walk up and buy alcohol. You can't just walk up and even buy cigarettes. And when I see that, and when I'm seeing it, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. Like, this is fucking incomprehensibly insane. And that's why I played that Ami Horowitz video to show that even black people are like, this is insane. Of course we have ID. The fact that you are even implying that we're incapable of doing so is racist as fuck. But continue, Spoon, sorry.
Let's see. After the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, a majority of white Americans felt that civil rights demonstrations were not justified. Even today, black voters wait longer to vote, while this same fucking moron just said a couple of minutes ago they are not allowed to vote, which makes no fucking sense. More likely to be removed from voter rolls and face polling place enclosures more often.
This fucking goddamn thing. What do you mean waited longer to vote?
Maybe because they go at a time when there's more people in the voting queue.
I guess so. Oh shit. Oop.
That's probably the most obvious solution.
Yeah, sorry.
Or the most obvious explanation, sorry. But here's the thing. They could not stop us. So why the hell are you bitching then? That doesn't even make any sense.
So you're fine. Then who cares? You're fine.
Yeah, okay.
They could not stop you. Then why are you upset? Why are you writing this stupid fucking piece?
Yeah.
Explicate yourself.
The black vote was never dependent on whether or not white people could come to their senses and change their ways. Actually, it is. That is exactly it. Because if white people are the majority... Actually, if there was democratic rule of voting and white people just said, fuck you, you wouldn't be able to vote.
What?
That's the God's honest truth. That's the democratic way, actually.
If white people were truly racist, they would not allow you to vote, dude. They wouldn't allow any of this.
They still keep you in chains.
You are existing in the most privileged position that has ever existed in the entirety of human history, and you're still mad about it. Why? Because you don't have communism. That's why. And by the way, when you get communism, when you get it, and people like you who have promoted it to this degree, you get put against the wall first. You're gonna get fucking killed, dude. And I do not say that out of. I'm saying that
malice.
I'm saying that out of fear for you, my dude. They're gonna fucking kill you.
You're going to get beaten by Comrade Cletus and Comrade Jamal.
Yes, because you would be considered a revolutionary, and revolutionaries then need to be squashed once they get their communist revolution. And don't get that shit fucking twisted. They will fucking kill you, my dude. They'll fucking kill you. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No one has ever allowed us to vote, in quotations. We won the right with our sweat and blood. Yes, by marching with Martin Luther King. To be fair, some Americans did not object to our participation in democracy.
I mean, they'll say like he had some commie stuff, but like you gotta look at Martin Luther King in general. He was not a commie. He might have been socialist, but socialism is not communism. So whatever.
Yeah, but the vast majority of Americans did not help us. They didn't care. They did not let us vote. Okay, whatever. And this has nothing to do with the enduring racism that defines this nation. Actually, yes, it does. That is the main thing you're bitching about us. It's about us and our constant struggle to vote, apparently, which you can do since like the 1960s, but okay.
It's incomprehensible. In this article, he admits black people can vote, and then a second later says black people can't vote.
They can't vote, yeah.
But provides no evidence for his hypothesis. You're insane, my dude. You've absolutely lost your mind. Continue, please. Sorry, Spoon.
The expectation that we will find a solution to the centuries-long traditions of obstructing the black vote is futile at best. Joe Biden does not have a secret Illuminati password that will hypnotize Senator Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema into not doing the same thing that white people have done since the Constitution appraised black humanity as 60% of whitehood.
Let's be clear. 2 Democrats, he just calls out there. Not Republicans. 2 Democrats.
Yeah, of course.
Continue, sorry.
I'm pretty sure Latosha Brown doesn't have one of those Men in Black pen lights that will make this country forget its history of suppressing black voters. No, I think if it did, it'll go back to like Klansmen and then you wouldn't have any rights at all. Speeches won't transform this country. Probably not. Protests won't stop white supremacy. No, but I think rioting might actually enact more of it. But neither will legislation. Yeah. Supreme Court rulings, voter registration drives, or changing... Actually, the voter registration drives probably will. Or changing the procedural rules of the Senate. Applying pressure to Sinema or Manchin won't stop their colleagues who feel the same way but are too afraid to say it. It will take all of that. I like the way the black people, you're 30% of the population.
I guarantee he would call someone like Kimberly Klacik a fucking Uncle Tom. I guarantee.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He would call someone like Kimberly Klacik an Uncle Tom. And if people aren't aware of who Kimberly Klacik is, Kim Klacik.
Or Clarence Thomas.
Or Clarence, yeah, for sure. Which, Kim Klacik is a black woman who ran as a Republican in a district of Baltimore that is Democrat, I believe, plus 25. I could be wrong. Let me look at the...
And the View were like a fucking bitch to her.
It's Democrat plus 27, excuse me. I was incorrect. Excuse me, I gave a wrong statistic. I said 25, it's actually 27. She ran in a D plus 27 district as a conservative Republican. And what was her main message? Help black people. Dude, like, this blows my mind. Hang on, I'm about to get really... Alright, so I'm about to drop some shit that, like, no one else can drop. Because I grew up in Baltimore. And again, Aiden didn't actually grow up in Baltimore. She only lived there when she was 11 to 18. Okay, well, I lived in Baltimore for a good portion of my life. Alright?
the things that I saw happen in Baltimore are terrible. The reality is that this woman, Kim Klacik, ran in a... She could not have won, by the way. Like, that was the kind of the problem. She could not have won. Why could she not have run? Just because she's a Republican, even though she's black. It does not have... This racial shit is terrible. It doesn't actually have anything to do with it. They don't care about actual racial representation. I think she lost to a white guy, but let me check. Did she lose to a black guy? She did lose to
my
another
god,
black guy.
this post has
I'm
comments.
Sorry, she did lose to a black guy, but like, whatever. It's insane. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Kenny Badenoch as well. Like, there's crazy shit that's going on. Kemi is pretty based, in my opinion. I love Kemi, but like, you have these black people who are willing to, and I love Kemi for, you know, she's in Parliament. People who are actually black women in particular, they're the kind of ones who are allowed to speak, and they're the only ones allowed to speak. Because if you're not a black woman, then you're not allowed to speak at all. And by the way, if you guys want to know some shit about the shit that happened in Baltimore, they got involved just a couple years ago. It was a horrible fucking controversy because the Baltimore government was totally involved with a huge scandal where they had been stealing money from the people, massive amounts of money from the people, and they didn't give a fuck, because of course they didn't. All that's been quieted up. Baltimore has been run by Democrats for 70 years. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't care. No one cares. It doesn't get involved. No one fucking pays attention to this shit. When they go out and they literally fucking steal from you, dude. They steal from you and put it right into their own pockets. It does not matter. Well, it does matter, but it does not get paid attention to. Baltimore is one of the worst examples and best examples in that kind of case. Baltimore is a city I care about because I'm from there. So it's horrifying, my dude. It's horrifying. They absolutely have destroyed that city. They have destroyed it. Why do you think they won't talk about Baltimore? Like, let me ask you this, Spoon, because you're from outside the country. Why do you think you get so little information about Baltimore?
Because it undermines the less entire narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. Thank you. That's why. Because they can't allow people to understand how bad things are in Baltimore.
It's the same reason they don't ever talk about New York or
Yep.
Florida.
But Baltimore is the worst. Okay, so Baltimore is in Maryland.
Or Illinois.
Well, hang on. But the reason why is because Baltimore has a very, very large black population. And the reason why is because escaped slaves stopped there, right? They didn't want to go further north. Maryland was like the furthest north, the closest north city, right? That they could stop at to escape slavery. Slavery, of course, is evil and horrible and terrible. Nobody would deny that. Well, we're both libertarians, so I think we would both agree that slavery is like the worst thing you can do to somebody. But black people moved to Baltimore and to Maryland, and predominantly into the city, into Baltimore, and they got same in Detroit as well. Thank you. I can't pronounce your name, my dude, but same thing happened in Detroit, where black people moved north to escape slavery, and they moved to these cities, and the cities ended up enacting their own kind of form of minor slavery. And the form of minor slavery that they engaged in and promoted was slavery towards the democratic politic of, if you vote for Democrats, we will give you things, we'll give you money. However, at the same time, and this is, I'm gonna get a little bit fucking, can I be spicy? It's my channel, whatever. Well, I guess it's our channel, whatever. How spicy can I be, Spoon? Can I say something that's like really contentious?
Let fly.
White Democrats have engaged in the systematic genocide of black people via abortion. That's my true opinion.
Okay.
They have systematically engaged in this is my opinion. You can disagree with me in the chat if you disagree. Please tell me. But I believe that they have used abortion as a way of absolutely controlling not just the black population, but also killing them. I find that horrifying, and I think that's I think it's a genocide. I think it's a fucking genocide. Okay, I think it's a fucking genocide. What the Democrats predominantly and not just Democrats, but lots of people have engaged in as politics is encouraging black women to get abortions is a genocide. I believe it's a fucking genocide. They put all the Planned Parenthoods in predominantly black areas. That is a genocide, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's a genocide, dude. I think that's genocidal, and I find it horrifying. I don't want to see black people being fucking genocided. Holy shit. When you kill off an entire 30 to 50% of a population's reproductive capacity, that's genocide, in my opinion.
I'm just gonna say this.
Oh no, I'm just a horrifying conservative. Except for like, I hate the fact that you did this shit to the black people. You fucking genocided them. Holy fuck.
I mean, never mind the abortion rate. Have you seen the crime rate?
Yeah, well, that's worse. That's only compelling because then you encourage it. You further fucking kill black people via police fucking crime rates, but by police killing them. This is terrible. The whole fucking system. Oh my fucking god. I sound like a fucking black rapper, honestly, but like the reality is I hate the fact that black people have been treated like fucking animals. It makes me fucking want to throw up, dude. I fucking hate it. Christ. Ugh. Sorry, I'm really mad. I really hate this.
I don't know, I'm kind of like pro-choice for pragmatic reasons in this regard,
I'm
especially with their
as well,
community.
But it's not just that. It's not just that. It's not just the fucking way they have systematically fucking killed black children, which is absolutely fucking disgusting. It makes me want to fucking vomit. Dude, I can't stand it.
No, because abortion is not genocide. I don't like that argument. Abortion is willing.
Abortion is a fucking genocide. I disagree.
No, it's not. It's willing.
No, when you fund it with government money, it's no longer a choice.
Yes, it is.
It is a choice, but it's a scary one, dude. I don't like it.
Would you rather them would you rather they get an abortion or go funded by the state?
But they are being funded by the state. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
That's what I'm saying. Is you can either get an abortion funded by the state, which is a one-time expenditure, or you can make them grow up without a father, and then massively have matriarchal communities.
Well, here's what we actually should do: is encourage black families.
Yeah, but that's not good for voting.
I know.
These people don't give a fuck about black people's lives. They just get like, what is the cheapest way I can buy your vote? That is all these people give a fuck about.
I fucking do give a shit about black people's lives, and I'm fucking horrified by the fact that they don't do that kind of stuff. We should encourage black fatherhood and disincentivize fucking abortion in black people. It's horrifying.
That's never gonna happen.
I don't understand how you don't look at that situation and not call it a genocide. Because I believe what has happened in the United States since the 1960s in the black population in the United States is a fucking genocide. I won't come back from that position. That's what I believe. I believe what's happened to the black population in the United States since the 1960s is a fucking genocide. That's my opinion. And I think that when you look at the definition of genocide, what I'm saying meets the criterion. Sorry. I just hate it. I hate it, man. I hate it. I don't want black people to be fucking killed. Holy shit. Sorry. I think I maybe overwhelmed this conversation with my stupid beliefs, but I hate it.
Ah, yes, eugenics.
It has to be eugenics. It has to be.
Let's blame Woodrow Wilson for that.
Well, we could blame Woodrow Wilson on that. However, this is a great way to end the stream on a horrifying thing that I believe in that I don't know exactly where your position is on it. Sitch. God damn it. Spoon, why did I call you Sitch? Fuck off. What do you want to do? You want to head off, my dude?
It's 1:10 in the morning for us.
Yeah, it's very late. I think we're probably done. Hey guys, however, in the chat, it has been dropping off because obviously we've been going on for a while.
It's late night, yeah.
Yeah, we had like almost like near 100 people. It was like 80 at one point, but mostly about around 69, which is nice. Thanks guys for tuning in to the seminal episode of Broken Crown.
Yes, we will have more monarchical ideas in the future.
We will talk more about monarchy. Obviously, we talked a little bit about it tonight.
And you will all witness the journey of me converting this lady into an absolute.
No. I'm still a constitutional monarchist. I'll always be a constitutional monarchist.
No.
No, we'll see.
You will embrace the absolute monarch.
Look, okay. Well, you can place your bets now, my friends. Does
How am I doing so far?
Does Spoon convert me? That being said, I would like to again just reiterate. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I had to like go into YouTube right now. I forgot about this. How do I find my YouTube live? Say some shit for a second, Spoon, while I figure out how to literally turn it off.
Some shit.
That's not fair. Oh god.
Oh, I thought you were doing something literally.
No, I'm actually trying to figure out how to turn it off. It's a fucking problem. God dang it. YouTube Studio. There we go. Sorry guys. As I said, I'm an idiot and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh, here we go. Okay, I got it.
Isn't an agorist just an anarchist?
Sort of. It's a little bit more complicated than that. Anyway, I hope you guys have all enjoyed watching our seminal episode. I think that we will probably do these on a regular on Wednesday, not on Friday, right?
And no, don't kill the king.
No, okay.
Raging why?
I think we'll
absolute monarchy, best monarchy. Yes, agreed.
We'll probably mostly do this on a Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, particularly for this entirely new channel. I super appreciate it. And by the way, if one more time, if you want to show solidarity with us, the lamest thing I could possibly say, there is a link to the Streamlabs down below. If you donate to that Streamlabs, it will show up on the stream, and we'll react to it probably immediately. So because it'll show up for us.
Don't save the king. Agreed.
Because until we reach 1,000 subscribers, we cannot get super chat money. But if you click down below, you'll see that there is a super chat or a super chat. It's a subscribe star link. If you want to give us some money, and you feel in any way inclined to, it's down there below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and may you all have a wonderful day. Bye bye.